Advance is helping you get your engine ready for the road this holiday season with the right oil, the right filter, at the right price every day. Get 5 quarts of full synthetic Mobil 1, Valvoline, Castrol Edge, or Pennzoil Platinum with the Mobil 1 oil filter for just $33.99. Plus, this holiday season, get a $25 NBA store gift card and 2 times Speed Perks points instantly with the purchase of 5 quarts of Mobil 1. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
All 75 months at 2.99, Mirage LHO 10129, G4 LHF 07863, Eclipse LZO 15893, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/1/2020 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
How about a brand new ride that gets 43 mpg highway, seats 5, plus costs less than $4 a day? We Gossett at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage, buy for $11,100 or $99 a month. 2020 G4, 41 mpg highway, $139 a month, or buy for $12,435. And 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $19,107 or $229 a month. Plus confidence today, tomorrow, and long into the future with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty.
I think it's going to clear up a little bit. Going to get warmer, then it's going to get colder. It's fall. It's just the way it is. And we got a busy show for you, and I think we should start, Brett, with this. It's a good day for old folks. That's how I look at it. Some people think, you're 45 or 50, your life is over. Tony La Russa today proved if you're 76, you can still be a major guy. You can be the head of a major professional team, one that has an upside that is incredible. In the Chicago White Sox, team that came on, made the playoffs this year, a team that I think we both feel can be a factor in the American League for the next few years.
Oh, yes, sir.
And the White Sox, I think, surprised a bunch of people with a guy like Hinch out there, former Houston Astros manager, to go this way. There are some people, and I was just listening to John Harden, that think that Tony La Russa is so old school. I think his guest got it right, that Tony is not wonderful with young players, that he loves young players. But to think he's not in touch with the game or analytics is wrong, because Tony La Russa was one of the first guys that did analytics.
Yeah.
And,
yeah,
I mean, if we're looking at the sort of the way the trends went, the very first guy I ever knew of in baseball put out an abstract every year that I know baseball purists, baseball crazies used to always think of as the Bible. And that was the James
Bill James.
Bill James.
Bill James.
But what was the name of this thing? It was called the Abstract, wasn't it? Bill James Abstract?
I don't remember the name of it,
but
it
that's
was
what it was.
That
was the Holy Grail.
It was the go-to source.
Yeah, that was the Holy Grail.
It was.
And that was the beginning
the
of
Red Sox
analytics.
hired him. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
then you had Billy Ball with Billy Beane, and he was sort of the first official hiring by a major league team. I know that Bill James was hired later by the Red Sox, sort of as a consultant, but this guy was put in the front office to run the front office, and he was an analytics
in charge.
guy. Yeah, the third guy probably was Tony La Russa, because he was doing
I would
funky
think so.
things right off the bat.
I would think so. Sparky Anderson was out there cutting edge. I mean, had won in both leagues, really, knew the game, wasn't scared of, changing pitchers. And Whitey Herzog was a big brain guy. There have been a lot of great managers, but yeah, Tony La Russa was at the vanguard of it, and he's back at 76. It was 9 years ago today, the day after the Cardinals won the World Series, that I'm out of here. I'm off to sunsets and the beaches, and he cleared out of his hotel room in St. Louis, where he would live every year. He would live at a hotel room at the Chase Park Hotel. It was not the worst kept secret in town, but it was known by some, but not by everybody. And he lived there, and that staff catered to every need, and he was to be left alone in season. Really never made his home in St. Louis in season or not, but loved St. Louis and had his number retired, went into the Hall of Fame, and now back in the dugout next year. And the Cardinals go to the south side of Chicago on Memorial Day, May 24th, Tuesday, May 25th, and Wednesday, May 26th. And if we ever get the world back to its natural order, I can put in for vacation days those days. I'll be on the south side those days if I can.
Now, that'll be really interesting to see.
Never been to the south side and love Tony La Russa and love the Cardinals and have always liked the White Sox. You know, they fired Don Kessinger when they hired Tony La Russa way back in the late 70s.
Well, Don was –
and so it's
he was a player manager.
He was a player manager.
You don't have too many of those, but he did.
Don't have many of those. And then Donnie came back home to the South to Oxford, made the rest of his great life, and a great life it has been. And what a good man! I told you I saw him a few weeks ago and got to visit with he and Carolyn. But really intertwined with me. It's down memory lane for me. I love Tony La Russa. Of course, if the Cardinals and the White Sox got to the World Series, I'm going to be for the Cardinals. But that would cushion the blow. That would soften it for sure. Favorite baseball manager of all time, Tony La Russa. I get in trouble with a lot of my Cardinal buddies. I love Whitey Herzog, but if I had to pick between the two, I take Don Tony.
That's tough for me. I loved Whitey. But you know what? Because La Russa did a good job with the White Sox, I've had a soft spot for him as well. And, you're talking about a walk down memory lane. It was rather ironic today when the announcement became official. I was watching last night parts of the ESPN 30 for 30 about the World Series and the great Bay Area earthquake during the World Series.
In 89.
And they actually had a lot of footage when it first hit of Tony La Russa and his wife. And all the players and their wives, they were all there. They were all leaving the ballpark. They were all safer. They felt safer. I remember they were gathered on the field. They felt safer on the field than they did in the stands, which could start to crumble and collapse. So how ironic then the world sort of collapsed today with a lot of White Sox fans. I don't know how this has really gone over because there is a question, and this is the one you got to ask Tony La Russa. I know they're having a press conference right now, but La Russa has been a veterans kind of a guy, and this is a young team. And I'm not saying he can't figure out a way to do it, but that's the key. Will he be able to relate, or will the young guys be able to relate to a 76-year-old pretty hard-nosed guy?
Very hard-nosed guy, very scrappy guy, very tenacious guy, and grinds every at-bat, every game. And you could see him, if you ran into him pregame and just spoke casually, hey, how you doing? I'll tell you tonight at 10:30. I'll tell you after this game's over tonight. And he often would say it jokingly and nicely and softly, but every game was a grind for him. I don't know how many games a good manager wins for you a year. I couldn't put – if you won 93 games, I don't know how many that manager just dialing things up at the right time that they win for you. But if let's say if it's worth 7 or 8.
Or how about it cost you? A bad manager.
Or cost you.
How many
that's
does
right.
one cost you?
I just wouldn't think Tony La Russa would cost you many, and I think he'd win you a lot more. But we'll see next year with him back in baseball. And you're right, Dave. I don't think 40s into 50s are by any means old. I don't think into the 60s are by any means old.
I don't either.
But I would call 76 old. I would. That doesn't mean you still aren't viable and functional and be able to make a big contribution. But I don't think anybody can make a case that 76 is not at least elderly.
Well, I'm going to try right now. Okay. Because I sincerely, I'm not doing this just to play devil's advocate. I sincerely believe, because of all of our knowledge of working out, of nutrition, of vitamins, of Prevagen, which is the newest thing for memory, for most people will tell you, because of our lifestyle now, that when we're 10 years older, we're 10 years younger than what our what our parents' generation was. In other words, my 67 now is more like my dad's 77. And I don't believe a guy like Tony La Russa, who has stayed sharp because he's stayed in the game, he never stopped working. He always had some sort of finger on somebody's pulse in the game, stayed in the game, stayed in incredible shape. If you see the video of the guy, I mean, he's in better shape than you and me. And, you know, he exercises. I don't think – now, there are some people at 76 that are old. I don't think Tony La Russa is old at 76. Vin Scully was in his 90s doing games. He never sounded like he lost it, and when he felt he was, he retired. So I think each case is different, but I honestly believe if you look generationally, I think this generation that I'm in seems to be in attitude and in health 10 years younger than our parents' generation. And I got a feeling the next generation coming up, my kids, when they're in their 60s, will probably be more like their late 40s.
Well, I hope
because
so.
we keep getting better with medicine.
I hope you're right about all that, and I can't prove you right, wrong, or indifferent, but I do know this. Insurance companies spend billions a year on actuaries and actuarial tables. And good luck going out and trying to find somebody to write you a life insurance policy at 76.
Well, you'll pay for it, though. Somebody will do it. But you'll have to pay
there's
for
not
it.
A premium out there for one.
Really?
Not a chance.
Well, I might have to put that one to the test in a few years. I will tell you this. I do know you know the answer to this one. Where is Newport, Arkansas, and what is the name of their high school team? What's their nickname?
They're the Greyhounds, and that's where Leslie Ratliff played. That was at Tennessee in the 90s, and had a great running back before that named Billy Warren, and it is about an hour 15 northwest of where I'm currently sitting.
An hour 15 north of you?
Northwest.
Northwest?
And it's about an hour northwest of Wynn,
Okay. Well, they have a running back.
It's in Jackson County.
By the name of Theron Davis, who is now committed to the University of Memphis. He is a 3-star guy who had 1,800 all-purpose yards as a junior, had 1,500 all-purpose yards as a sophomore. Smart enough to get into the Naval Academy, and the U of M got a commitment. They're 22nd in their class now, which basically really ices.
I hope he's good.
I hope he's a home
he's
run
second
hitter.
best ever running back ever at Newport because Billy Warren was the best, and it just didn't work out for him. He got hurt early in college, but he was recruited by everyone when he came through. But I wish him well. In Newport, they produce a player or two a year for Arkansas State, Arkansas, Central Arkansas, and others.
Well, he's 5'10", 170. I hope
Leslie Ratliff, probably their best player ever.
Well, I hope
big lineman.
I hope this young man is a speedster because it just
I didn't know Newport's nickname.
Of course
Come on,
you did.
Dave.
That's why I asked you. I said you will definitely know this.
I saw probably of all the football games I've been to in my life, and at any level, Little League, 7th grade, 9th grade, college, pro, Super Bowls, I couldn't put a number on it. Probably saw the greatest play ever at Newport one night in a junior high game, late in the game, big frenzied comeback. That Newport scores to get within a one-score game, and it's only seconds remaining on the clock, but they're going to try an onside kick. So they line up for it. Everybody in the stadium knows it's coming, and they do, and the kicker kicks kind of a line drive that caroms off a shoulder pad of a player, and the ball is suspended in the air, it seemed like forever, and the biggest lineman on the field catches it midair and catches the corner and pulls away and scores a touchdown as the buzzer's going off in a big dog pile by everybody in the stadium and end zone.
The unveiling of that play sounded like the Immaculate Reception.
Oh, it was the best play ever. My favorite play I've ever seen in any football event.
Well, this was coaches' meetings day for me with the University
Big David
of Memphis.
Duke, if you're out there, you just got to shout out.
And if there's anything missing from the weaponry that the University of Memphis has compared to what they had a year ago when they played Cincinnati back-to-back, and that is there's no breakaway guy. There's no Gibson. There's no Gainwell. We got a rugged guy in Drake Clark. We got a guy who can do a little bit of the finesse and elusiveness in Watkins, but there's no one that is good enough
The ever down guy.
to break away and go the 90 yards like Gainwell or Gibson could a year ago. That's what's missing. I'm hoping that is what this Thorin Davis is capable of doing, and it sounds like he might be able to at his size, 5'10".
Well, they've always had great coaching at Newport, too, and I imagine he is ready to play. Hey, Tennessee Sports Betting, almost here in FanDuel Sportsbook. They're giving you an exclusive offer to get started right now. FanDuel Sportsbook giving users $50 in free bets just for signing up. You heard that right. They're giving you $50 in free site credit to register and verify early, no deposit required. FanDuel, America's #1 sports betting site for a reason. They've got odds on all the biggest sports and a simple, intuitive app that makes it easy to find the bet you're looking for, then lock it in like on those college games tonight or the NFL Thursday night football game like I will between Atlanta and the Panthers. And unlike other sports books, once you win, FanDuel, they get you your cash in as little as 24 hours. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. But right now, the right thing for you to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and check out their fantastic app for yourself. Just be sure to sign up and register using promo code CASH so they know I sent you. When you verify your account, you'll receive $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook goes live. That's promo code CASH to get $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. That's Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Lexus of Memphis offering the golden opportunity, late October, nearing Halloween golden opportunity sales event. 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2020 models and always special lease options. Driving luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Of the day.
So we found out yesterday that the NBA really wants to push up the starting date to the Christmas time in December so that they get that big day, and it has become part of the Christmas
It's their day.
holiday. It has become their day. But the Players Union is, to borrow a term from Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. They don't necessarily.
Yeah, the NFL has a game that day this year too. That's a Friday. Christmas falls on a Friday.
Well, the NBA Players Union and some of the stars are really pushing back on that notion. They think it's too quick, considering how this season just really ended.
It's too quick for two teams, for sure.
For sure. Well, and you know, even those that got into the quarterfinals, say, last 8 teams in.
You had 5 months off before that.
You did. But it is a tough turnaround, and they don't necessarily want to do it. They prefer starting
negotiation
on Martin Luther King Day, which would be about 3.5 weeks past that Christmas holiday. So we shall see if indeed that is the case. In the meantime, they're still talking about the draft, and apparently the Timberwolves met with LaMelo Ball. I've taken a look at this thing. I think there's only 2 guys, and there'll be more, of course, But in my mind, there are two guys that I think clearly will be NBA players for a good 10 or 15 years with a chance to really be all-stars. And they are James Wiseman and Obi Toppin. Those are the two that I think are really, really solid stars. The others are question marks, as LaMelo Ball just may be, but the Timberwolves are talking to him, and that is they are in possession of the first pick. Your top story?
My top story. My top story. Week 2 for the Big Ten. One game already canceled. Rumors of others being precarious. And it just makes you wonder why they jumped out there so early in August and pulled the plug on the year and then had to have a redo. And they may be thinking, why did they ever return? A one-loss Big Ten team is in trouble. That's every year. But with the limited resume that you can build, one loss is really dooming. This year, 2 losses, then I think they're completely out of the CFP picture.
I would agree. It was interesting enough. Again, the Big Ten is sticking by whatever they decide they're going to stick by at the moment. Nebraska seems to always be the team that wants to challenge. And because they lost their game this week with Wisconsin after the getting ripped at Ohio State, they really want to play a game. They want to get back on the bicycle. And so they lined it up where they could play against UT Chattanooga. And the Big Ten today said, you're not playing. No way. We made that decision a long time ago because of COVID. We're not playing any other schools but our own under our protocol. So they denied Nebraska, who was going to pay UT Chattanooga a bunch of money. And according to the Nebraska AD, UT Chattanooga's protocol is even better than the Big Ten. But didn't matter. Big Ten said no, they are not going to allow them to play.
Not top story of the day.
Well, that again is all the COVID numbers. Now we got a couple of Giants that have it, and they say, I think everybody but 4 offensive linemen of the O-line are being quarantined. Hopefully they'll be ready in time to play on the weekend. A Charger player, an offensive lineman named Ryan Gropp, he also has tested positive for COVID. So there are problems there. Shelby County, the numbers better today. 188 new cases, 1 fatality. But the health department is saying that there is the R number, that is the reproductive rate of the virus. It's at 1.24. And that particular number, 1.24, is indicative of significant county-wide spread. So they are very leery, saying this fall wave is definitely going to happen. We had 2,700 tests yesterday with those 188 new cases. That means a 6.9% positivity. That was pretty good, but it wasn't good around the state. There were a bunch of new cases in the state of Tennessee today, 2,660 to be exact, which gets you to 255,000 cases in the state of Tennessee with 3,200 fatalities. Mississippi at 1,000 new. They're at 118,000 with 3,300 fatalities. And Arkansas is at 108,000. In the United States, there were 35,000 new cases as of this morning, which means that number will go up. Now we're well over 9 million cases, 9,156,233 who have perished. 352,000 new cases worldwide. You saw yesterday France and Germany considering shutting down again. 45 million worldwide, 1,183,000 who have died. 32.3 million recoveries, but 11.3 million still active.
My not top story, has Justin Turner not been criticized by anybody left on planet Earth? Has he been stoned yet? Publicly beaten? Look, it was a really bad look, but let's not turn him into Pol Pot. He had been around everybody all day before getting the news. The real castigation should be at Major League Baseball. And Justin Turner, again, it was a bad look for him to demand, and sounds like he barged past Major League Baseball security. But, turn him into Son of Sam. This is beyond the pale.
Well, he does share some responsibility. I agree with you. 100%.
And he's got. I think I said all that
before.
But it's some serious ivory towers out there, though, in the criticism of him.
When you don't comply and they tell you can't do this and why, and he says too bad. He
had been around them all day.
Just, in my mind, yes, but he didn't know then. But then you know. And that's when you have to be compliant. And that's when he said no.
So the virus was only going to be inflicted on someone else after he knew?
But he's still contagious. He still got it. He didn't know that.
He had been all day, though, Dave.
Yeah, does that matter? Once you know, now you're responsible for doing it. Before then, you were not. And that's the point.
Again, the optics are bad, but just the drilling of him by everyone needs to big time cease.
I think he deserves everything he gets.
What about baseball?
Well, baseball should have had a better system that would warn you. But once they got it, they warned him, and he just said, too bad. I don't care if I go out there and put Dave Roberts' life at bay. To me, when he didn't know, okay, then there's nothing wrong with that. But once you know, then you got to change, and he didn't. And that was selfish, in my opinion. And I
think everybody has agreed on that.
Okay, well, and so your point is what? We should just say it's okay now?
Back off, yeah.
I don't think we're going to hold it against him forever, but I think every bit of criticism that he gets to now is worthy.
There are some blue check marks calling for him to be banned from the game.
Oh, I wouldn't ban him from the game, but I would definitely fine him and I'd suspend him for a few games. I'd have no problem with that.
What's that do?
It maybe would stop anybody else the next time from thinking, you know what? I'm not going to listen.
We feel good. We find him.
No. I think whatever he gets to a certain point, short of banning him forever, whatever penalty they get, I'm pretty on board with it. I am definitely thinking he was totally irresponsible and just absolutely selfish after he'd learned of
and that has only been said 19,000 times in the last 36 hours.
Now 19,001. We take the break. Back in just
and old as it can be, 19,001 times.
Well, that's in your opinion. Back in a minute.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Zane. Weekday mornings from 7 till 10 on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Reddock Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day. Group play and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
Are you looking for a dependable car at a fair price and guaranteed financing approval? Then you need to make your way to Collierville Auto Center, where one price shopping is the name of the game. Family owned and operated, Collierville Auto Center has been in the business for over 20 years and is proud to serve the people of this area. Collierville Auto Center is stocked with over 50 units, including cars, trucks, SUVs, and Highlines. Looking for a particular type of vehicle? Collierville Auto Center offers a locator service with 72-hour turnaround service. With over 30 years in the automotive industry, Scott and Martin would be happy to show you how their affordable pricing and guaranteed financing can work for you. Come see Scott and his professional staff of Terry, Branson, Q for your car needs. Conveniently located at 651 West Poplar Avenue, Collierville Auto Center is situated where Highway 72 meets Poplar and Collierville. Please look them up on the web at ColliervilleAutoCenter.com. Call at 901-853-0240 or simply come and see them for an outstanding car buying experience. At Collierville Auto Center, they're here for you.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join us every Saturday morning on Sports 56 WHBQ from 8 to 10 a.m. and 96.1 FM and the new FM 98.5. We'll be covering the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, college football, college basketball, college baseball. We'll look into recruiting. We'll have guests from around the country with the latest news, the most knowledgeable people out there, the coaches, the players, the people who play the games. Don't forget to join us on the sidelines. Sports 56, 96.1 and the new FM 98.5.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We welcome you back into the Family Leisure Studios. The days are counting down. That world's biggest spa sale is going to be over, where you're getting up to 30% off spas and swim spas, and we've got hundreds of those from multiple different manufacturers. The common denominator, I am telling you, they are all high technology, state-of-the-art. Special financing still available, but this thing comes to an end after this weekend. Now, I'll be talking about something else really cool next week, but I want you to cash in on the 30% off on spas and swim spas through this weekend. And don't forget, too, as the pool season is wound down, you can get an unreal price on chemicals and pool accessories. Always professional delivery is available. That is Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road, where family and fun come together. Bill Bender, our friend from the Sporting News, who writes about college football as good as anybody in the business does, joins us now. And I really wonder this. I don't mean to be a smart guy when I say this, but do you think there is some buyer's remorse by the Big Ten for getting into this thing with the fact that into the second week they've already got a problem? Good afternoon, Bill.
I'm doing well, thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, we always talk about the I told you so's, and if all of us could see this coming, it's kind of hard not to point it out, right? That, you don't have a lot of flexibility in the schedule. That Wisconsin had this happen after 1 week, probably the worst case scenario that it happens to a quarterback room and a head coach after a good opener. And it just takes a damper off what I thought was a fantastic opening weekend of Big Ten football.
Yeah, Bill, the buyer's remorse to me should be the August decision, not the September decision.
Absolutely, because that initial schedule, if you go back and look at it, had all this stuff built in.
Yep.
Now, it had some hitches I didn't like not having Michigan, Ohio State at the end of the road and a couple other things. But, I mean, if you look at the numbers, and, regardless of your feelings on COVID, I know that 5 of the top 10 states in terms of most cases the last 7 days are big, as what I like to call Big Ten states. Michigan, Indiana, Wisconsin, and we're going right into the teeth of it up here. It's starting to get a little colder, and just makes people feel antsy. But again, I mean, the games on the field, it was so fun to watch those.
There were plenty, and I want to talk about Penn State in Indiana for sure. right off the bat. But the decision, again, made in it's consistent. I'm going to give the Big Ten and the commissioner that. But Nebraska really wanted to play, especially after Ohio State just absolutely destroyed them last weekend. They wanted to play UT Chattanooga. UTC was willing to come, and apparently, according to the stories I've read, their protocol is pretty darn good, yet the Big Ten said, too bad, we're not playing non-conferences. Do you agree with that consistency by the Big Ten?
No, I don't agree with it at all. I mean, if Tennessee checks out, let them play. It's not Nebraska's fault what happened. And Nebraska is, if they're willing and able to do it, I think where we're going to have a really big problem here, potentially, is this 6-game rule, where you need to play 6 to be in the Big Ten championship game. Well, Nebraska, it's not their fault that they're going to miss one. And I have my doubts that Wisconsin's going to play Purdue next week, just because if it's a 7-day pause, you come back to action on a Wednesday, and you've got 48 hours to prepare for a game against the Boilers. There's only so much you can do on Zoom to be ready and willing to play in a football game with another Big Ten team, and one that beat Iowa last week.
Almost impossible. Almost impossible. Bill, do you see any relaxation of the 21 days, especially now with every report you're seeing on myocarditis, that it is such a lack of impact? Doctors are no longer even doing the tests for it. And if anybody would have asked any cardiologist in August, we could have found that out when everybody had people running through the streets wanting to shut down everything over myocarditis.
Yep, and the 21-day thing is going to run into some issues too, because you got to figure a handful of players are going to test positive after each week, whether it's at Ohio State. I mean, Graham Mertz is a pretty big name. Imagine if it was Justin Fields, and that fits in perfectly to what happened at the World Series. Well, that guy, Justin Turner, celebrated a World Series victory. Justin Fields would be off the field for 3 weeks, and a player of that caliber would really make a difference. So that 21, I get what the Big Ten's doing. I applaud the over-the-top effort to keep student-athletes safe. Don't get me wrong. But like you said, that initial, if you don't have flexibility within the schedule, you're just setting yourself up for failure.
Well, and just to clarify, as I've read every story, Wisconsin has only 6 players that tested positive. Now, there may be more since I've read, but I don't think there is. It was 6 of staff, 6 of players, but 2 of them were quarterbacks, including the starter. And so the third quarterback was injured, so they were going to have to go with a freshman quarterback that doesn't even know the offense. That's the reason for the cancellation. Is that fair? I mean, and I think if I were the commissioner, I would have done that for Wisconsin's sake.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. It's a quarterback room, and that's we kind of hinted at that all off season, and that was the one room where I was like, can't play without your quarterback, can't play without your offensive line. You can figure things out at the skill positions. Yeah, you can still figure things out with your defense. But if your offensive line's hit, you almost can't play. And obviously with quarterback, it'd be borderline irresponsible to put, let's say all the quarterbacks tested positive because they were in all the same room. You can't just put a receiver at quarterback and legitimize a football game at that level.
Bill, if Justin Fields ever, just in a doomsday scenario, if he ever tested positive and he got the 21-day sit down, I think he packs up and he's out of Columbus.
Yep, that's another thing. That's the next trend coming. Is normally this junction of season, you start to talk about guys maybe skipping a bowl game or doing that. But I mean, with what happened in Mississippi State, I think you're going to see more of that. Where if a season goes south for a team, guys may just jump ship. And part of me hates that because you want to teach your kids, hey, you finish what you started, all that kind of stuff. But the other part's like, man, if you're playing through these risks already and there's no, benefit to it.
It's not worth
it. To play a football game, yeah, a lot of these guys have the right to do that.
If you think about this with the new rule where a guy can transfer, play immediately, and he's not losing this year, how many transfers will we see? And it is going to be incredible. And then how will coaches manage their rosters And scholarships, will there be a limitation of 25, or will they have to build upon that? For instance, let's say a team decides they're going to take in a couple of these Mississippi State kids. What do they do with about kids they've already committed to with scholarships? Will they end that 25 limit? I mean, these are questions that are really going to be difficult for the NCAA to figure out.
Yep, and that is, well, at least we're getting a season. I know there's people that are complaining about, that this MLB season, really, man, we got baseball. They got the season in. It's no different than a strike season if you had one of those, and we've lived through some of those. I think the NFL is going to be interesting. They've handled it well so far. There's a long way to go to the finish line. And one thing that was brought up to me, and I totally agree with it, the NFL probably should have done a 12-game season instead of a 16-gamer, just to, get it in. Because I think with what's coming in the winter, if there's not a vaccine, we're going to run into a lot more problems.
Yeah, it feels like they're bubble bound. They have to have some scenarios approaching that around the playoffs and maybe taking everything to Florida, at or near the Super Bowl city. Bill, you wrote this week about the top three teams, and I think talent-wise, coaching-wise, everybody agrees in some order: Clemson, Bama, Ohio State, Bama, Clemson, whatever order you want to put them in. But who is your number 4?
Well, that's what we're going to figure out over the next month and change when we get into November. I mean, I think Clemson, Alabama, and Ohio State, you could lightly pencil into the playoffs, maybe even just pencil them in altogether. It could be Georgia. They build toward the rematch with Alabama. It's on the table. Could be Notre Dame. We're going to have a fun game next Saturday. We're going to have a fun Saturday. We haven't even talked much about this Saturday because the schedule's horrible. But next Saturday, the schedule's got a lot of fun on it. It's got Florida, Georgia. It's got Notre Dame, Clemson. It's got those kind of things. It's got Oregon making their debut. That's kind of my pick, though, Brad. I'd go Oregon. See what they got in Pac-12. But I think their schedule, their defense, their setup is, if they can go undefeated, they might have a chance.
If Notre Dame were to play close, game goes to overtime, do we get Clemson and Notre Dame in?
Well, they got to play twice. I think if you get a split, you can get them both in.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something to
forgot
keep in
about
mind
the championship game, yeah.
They get to play them twice, probably. And then Georgia and Alabama get to play twice. And here's another one that I just, we haven't talked about them yet because you guys are ducking me because they won. But if Michigan and Ohio State are undefeated when they play, the loser could get in.
I find that hard to believe with the amount of games that they will play over one of the other Power Fives that played more games. I think that would be tough.
8-1. What, 8-1 with the extra game in the Survivor Series. So let's play that out. If Michigan and Ohio State are both 7-0, they play. It's a thriller like it was in 06. Mm-hmm. Either one wins, and then the loser plays in that consolation game and goes 8-1. I mean, 9 games. It would have to line up perfectly, but the Wolverines showed, to me, Michigan is not that different than Notre Dame, and Michigan's got their best quarterback they've had under Jim Harbaugh.
There is a game this week. I know you've just downplayed the schedule, but in your neck of the woods, not too far from you, in Cincinnati, Ohio, Memphis will play the 7th-rated Bearcats. If Cincy ran the table, okay, and won the championship game, so they beat Memphis twice, or they beat UCF, or if it's Houston or Tulsa, whatever it may be, and they're undefeated, which makes them 11, I think they'd be 12-0 with the championship game. What are the odds that they could get in, considering they beat Army when they were 22nd in the country, and they beat SMU when they were 16. Memphis right now is sitting at 26. I know that doesn't quite make it, but it's a good power ranking win. What would the odds of the Bearcats making it not to the Peach Bowl, but to the playoff?
Decent, right? I mean, they're top 10, and they're top 10. I think they would be top 10 if we weren't in the COVID season. They beat 2 ranked teams, like you said. There's only 4 schools that have beat 2 ranked teams so far. Alabama's done it. Georgia's done it. There's one I'm blanking on. I had this. That's the reason I said that. I had that list downstairs. But Cincinnati, has done it, and I'm not walking downstairs. So we'll just forget about who the
we'll believe you. We believe there's another one.
I'm too old.
I know who it's not. It's not BYU, and I think they're good, but that's just not a resume that anybody could go out and make a case for. Navy, Troy, Louisiana Tech, Texas San Antonio, Houston, Texas State. That's to date. Right. Western Kentucky, at Boise, Northern Alabama, San Diego State. Nobody's going to be able to make a case for BYU.
Well, yeah, and then to the Cincinnati point, that Memphis game is underrated. Memphis got them twice last year, as you guys know. And to me, if they were in the table, I think they're a playoff team, personally. I don't know if the playoff committee feel that way. I think Luke Fickell's really done a nice job there. And up this way, I mean, I'd take an Ohio State-Cincinnati semifinal. I think that generated a lot of excitement.
Oh, that would be incredible. And I'm going to go back to something I read just the other day. But if you go back to last year, the final poll, and a lot of these teams are very much still the same. Cincinnati's one of them. If you go back to the final poll of a year ago, the Big Ten had 6 teams, the SEC had 5 teams in the final 25, and the American had 4 final top 25 teams in that poll. So the competition is pretty darn solid that Cincinnati would run the table with, and the committee's got to take that into account. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and they've done a good job. And these are good programs. SMU lost that game, but that's still a much improved program.
Uh-huh.
Memphis to me belongs in the same sentence as Boise at this point in terms of the kind of group of 5 record. That's another good game we got next week too, BYU and Boise.
Yeah.
That's better. That's probably better than any of the Pac-12 games we're going to watch next weekend. So it's that the best way I've always described this college football season all year is excitement mixed with precaution, because I try not to get too excited because things could get shut down at any moment, unfortunately.
Bill?
It feels like that even going out to the stadium on game day. It feels like until you see the ball in there, you really don't believe it's happening.
I do. I feel the same way.
Well, I just had meetings with Ryan Silverfield and the coaching staff today, and that was one of the last things he said is, we're good today, but we got to do rapid tests before we get on the airplane tomorrow. I mean, so who knows? You don't know until, honest to goodness, that plane takes off tomorrow if Memphis plays Cincinnati, and that's true of every team that is traveling to go and play tomorrow. It's just the reality of 2020. Bill Bender, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Hey, you guys are the best. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
Have a great weekend. Bill Bender from the Sporting News. It's our big day for Sporting News, folks, right? Because coming up in a little bit, our good friend Mike DeCourcy, our first visit with him. I'm looking forward to that. This portion of the show brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, the tankless water heater. Wow. During the cold winter months, groundwater gets colder. It requires more energy to heat water. And I know if some of you have got an old system, you've noticed, why is my water taking so long to heat? Why is it not getting hot? It's because your old, inefficient tanked water heater can't keep up with the weather. It's time to get into 2020. It's time to get a tankless from Conway. They're the specialists. And by the way, this thing never runs out of hot water. And John's making it the perfect time to buy it right now because he'll give you a deal. He'll basically give you 12 months interest-free, or he says, here's $250 for that old tanked water heater. Plus, these energy-saving models, well, they only heat the water you use. So every month on your gas bill, you are saving money. It pays for itself. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic. There's no tank. And I love it that you never run out of hot water. Please make the call. Do yourself a favor. 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. Back in a minute to put a wrap on this very first hour on this Thursday of Sports Time on Sports 56.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through lunch daily from 10 to 1.
Well, lunch is served.
Only on Sports 56, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
All 75 months at 2.99. Mirage LHO 10129. G4 LHF 07863. Eclipse LZO 15893. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/1/2020 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
How about a brand new ride that gets 43 mpg highway, seats 5, plus costs less than $4 a day? We Gossett at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage. Buy for $11,100 or $99 a month. 2020 G4 41 mpg highway, $139 a month, or buy for $12,435. And 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $19,107 or $229 a month. Plus confidence today, tomorrow, and long into the future with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage, $99 a month. Mirage G4, $139 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $229 a month. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
Advance is helping you get your engine ready for the road this holiday season with the right oil, the right filter, at the right price every day. Get 5 quarts of full synthetic Mobil 1, Valvoline, Castrol Edge, or Pennzoil Platinum with the Mobil 1 oil filter for just $33.99. Plus, this holiday season, get a $25 NBA store gift card and 2 times Speed Perks points instantly with the purchase of 5 quarts of Mobil 1. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
Are you shopping for a new watch, an engagement ring, any kind of jewelry at all? What's up, Memphis? This is Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Grizzlies, encouraging you all to shop where I shop, Platinum Jewelers here in Memphis. Platinum Jewelers has a big selection of earrings, stockable rings, luxury watches, necklaces, bracelets, really whatever you need. They do custom jewelry and have 2 locations in the area. One is 545 Perkins Extended in East Memphis. The other is 9387 Poplar next to Fresh Market in Germantown. So if you need anything jewelry related, go to my spot, Platinum Jewelers.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stack. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
By my count, yesterday, 3 more Mississippi State Bulldogs have transferred out of the Mike Leach program. Kylan Hill, the 4th player yesterday, has opted out. And I think with this free year everybody's going to get, and now you don't lose a year no matter what anyway. So if you're a junior, you're still a junior. I think, Brett, we are going to see so many transfers this coming year without having to sit out.
Well, we are, Dave, and we're going to have real roster upheaval into the spring, and we're going to have a big round of player cuts, and all of the freedom and liberty that the players have gotten, I think they deserve. But there's also freedom and liberty for that coaching staff to say, you need to move along.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. This happened everywhere where Leach has gone, where he's had a bunch of people who've defected, and those first years have been terrible. As a media person, I mean, I think he's one of the most interesting of all the coaches I'd want to cover. So I wouldn't mind being around him, but that does not seem to be the case with players. I have no idea what it is that is so unsettling about him.
Well, he didn't have a chance to kind of thin the ranks in the springtime when he probably normally would have had the traditional roster purge of the you need to move along time. He didn't get that. Nobody got that. No first-year coach got that. I still think it's exciting to have him in the SEC. We waited and to see who would do it, where it would be done, how it would go. And for 4 great hours, it worked charmingly. Yeah. But that's been about the only good 4 hours of his tenure. Yeah. Back to the controversial tweet or meme or whatever it was, that I don't think there was any ill intent, but it was just misguided, and it's a thorny subject. It is a very, very sensitive subject, but I don't think he meant anything at all racially inspired by it. But you can't do it. And if that had come just a few weeks later at the height of the protests and stuff, I don't know that he would have survived it.
he just seems to me to be a lightning rod guy. You either like him or you don't like him. There seems to be very little middle ground. And I actually thought that was
and
the
he's
way,
looking for the lightning.
Yeah.
He doesn't mind the lightning.
I actually thought that would be the way we would be discussing Lane Kiffin. If you listen to the players of Kiffin who, tweets a whole lot more than Mike Leach does and takes stands, his players think – he's got their back the way he handled the tweet with the fine and everything else. And I thought it was pretty funny, too. I'll pay him pennies, the $25,000. But his players perceive those as being watching over them, for them, more like he's a player's coach. And I haven't seen anybody going, I got to transfer out of here.
Both of them will have to win. That's what they ultimately be measured by.
Oh, yeah. I'll be honest, just because I tend to like Mike Leach, I'm really surprised by the defections, but I shouldn't be because that has been his MO every time he has taken over a program. So yesterday, or 2 days ago, we saw eight of those ESPN games getting canceled, those non-conference tournaments being played at the Walt Disney World. Wide World of Sports for ESPN down in Orlando. Today it was announced, Ohio State's playing a lot of games because they're playing Memphis to begin in Sioux Falls, South Dakota in November. On December the 19th, Kentucky, North Carolina, UCLA, and Ohio State will play in what they're calling the CBS Sports Classic, and that's going to be in Cleveland. So...
And what teams will be in that?
That's Kentucky, North Carolina, UCLA, and Ohio State. So Ohio State's going to play all the conference games in the Big Ten, and they're involved in at least two of these tournaments now. The 3 games in South Dakota and I'm guessing that's just going to be a 1 game on December the 19th. I think it's Kentucky, North Carolina, UCLA, Ohio State that'll play in Cleveland. I was beginning to think we would have no non-conference tournaments. All that stuff was going to go away. Apparently, that's not. In talking with folks today, I still think the 3 games the Tigers have, non-conference games in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, are going to take place. That's an hour in the books. This portion of the show brought to you by Ken Garland. Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. It's a big decision when you're going to build that dream home, and that's why Ken works closely with his clients, ensuring they get exactly what they want and they expect. Quality construction on time, on budget. He's only been doing that for 2 generations. Go look at KenGarland.com. You'll see what I'm talking about, how the finest of palaces throughout the Metroplex in this area, so many of them are built by Ken and his dad. Now, once you've made your call, you viewed the website, make your call, 751-1632. That's the number. If you're looking for a renovation, I call it renovation with innovation, putting all the modern amenities into your older home because you love where you live. You love the lot. You love the location. He can do that. Maybe you need land. He can provide that. Maybe you've got land from your family. You're not sure what to do with it. He'll know. Or maybe you're looking for a new development. He's involved with the Leylon. That's a gated community by Boyle. It's on Messick Road east of Kirby, all the way to McVeigh. 4-bedroom homes starting at $875,000. If you're interested, please take a look at my friend and call him. He's interesting to talk to. Sees little details, big picture, all at once. 751-1632. That's the number for Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. So we'll talk hoops. We saw this Kentucky, North Carolina, UCLA, and Ohio State grouping all matched up. What does Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News think? We'll find out in a minute.
Fall weather is hit, and James Davis is helping celebrate game day openers with 20% off all fall merchandise starting now until the end of October. Sports shirts, sweaters, active tops. Perfect for those cool nights while we all now eat outside. All new 5-pocket brush cotton pants and tons of denim are now in stock. I now make all my clothes custom to get the right fit, and the Stant custom shirt and pants system with 3 measurements and the perfect fit. Within a week, is a must-try because it's 20% off. It will completely change the way you feel in your clothes, and you still have to look good on Zoom calls. And the greatest deal on the planet, well, that's still the 2 Paul Battendley suits for only $7.95. Unheard of deals, only through October 31st. So I would get moving to James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. When I want to throw a party for friends or family, I want it to be a taste of Memphis, and that means Corky's Barbecue. Order online or call ahead and pick up at their speedy drive-thru. And be sure to tell them that Penny sent you.
Order the ultimate taste of Corky's and get a free rack of ribs with your mail order. Just put Sidelines in the promo code. Get meat, ribs, barbecue baked beans, Corky sauce, dry rub seasoning, and a pie, all for just $99.99. Put Sidelines in the mail order as your promo code, and the free rack of ribs is added automatically.
Cold and flu season's here. It's time to make sure your family's stocked up on the products you'll need if somebody gets sick. Pick up the new Vicks DayQuil and NyQuil Severe, honey, cold, and flu medicines during your next grocery trip. DayQuil and NyQuil Severe Honey are a max-strength medicine with a great-tasting honey flavor, also available for sale at online retailers. DayQuil NyQuil Severe Honey provides max-strength cold and flu symptom relief for your worst cold and flu symptoms in a soothing honey flavor. Use as directed.
You get to choose at Gossett Kia on the Pike. Right now, take your pick from 2021 Kia Forte or 2020 Kia Soul. $149 a month lease, 36 months. Plus the all-new 2021 Kia K5 with more passenger cargo headroom and legroom volume than Toyota Camry. Plus a warranty that blows Toyota away with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Now $189 a month lease, 36 months. And get 2020 K900, $10,000 off MSRP. So get your Kia on at Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike or shop 24/7 KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J and he'll put you in a new Kia today. Leases $31.49 due at signing. 0 security deposit excludes ACQ fee $10,000 per year. 20 cents excess mileage. $6.50 acquisition fee. Forte ME $275,992 MSRP $20,510. Sold L706 $3372 MSRP $21,885. K5 MG 003,199 MSRP $25,725. K900 MSRP $65,610. L60 $26,907. L60 $21,220. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF $695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/1/2020. Dealer stock only. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join us every Saturday morning on Sports 56 WHBQ from 8 to 10 a.m. and 96.1 FM and the new FM 98.5. We'll be covering the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, college football, college basketball, college baseball. We'll look into recruiting. We'll have guests from around the country with the latest news, the most knowledgeable people out there, the coaches, the players, the people who play the games. Don't forget to join us on the sidelines. Sports 56, 96.1, and the new FM 98.5.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
Strapped against my back.
Welcome back in on a very autumn-like, sort of overcast Thursday as we wind our way to the football weekend. It's been a good day for us. We chatted a lot of college football with our friend from the Sporting News, Bill Bender, and we are about to embark upon the journey of chatting every week with our friend Mike DeCourcy. Normally it'll be on Wednesdays, and we will do it at about 5 o'clock on Wednesdays. Mike was kind enough to switch with us today and to be on with us today. Mike just has written a story in the Sporting News with Mike Krzyzewski assuring us that there will be college basketball this winter and this spring. Mike DeCourcy, are you as convinced as the other Mike?
I am, because from what we saw from the NCAA losing the 2020 NCAA tournament, losing the 2021 NCAA tournament is pretty close to an existential threat to that organization. I wouldn't say that they'd go out of business without it, but they would be in absolutely desperate straits if they had to have another tournament wiped out. And I think we have also seen, we've seen Major League Soccer, Major League Baseball, the NFL, two of them, one of them completed its season on Wednesday or Tuesday. One of them is approaching its playoffs, coming up soon. They're very close to the end of their regular season, and it was truncated, but it happened. And of course, there's the NFL, which is now through, I think, 7 weeks of its season, approaching week 8, starting tonight. And so Sporting Enterprises have shown they are going to find a way to play through this. And it's a question of how to play through it and what sacrifices have to be made. And the first obvious sacrifice is fans in the stands, either to the point of none, like the Big Ten Conference has done, like the Premier League in England, no fans at all, or much capacities are greatly reduced, like we've seen in the NFL and college football and that sort of thing. But then of course there's the bubble circumstances that existed in the NHL, in the NBA, in Major League Soccer, and the NWSL for shorter periods. Though they've all shown that the bubble concept can be workable as well. So using some combination of the various ways to do it, there will be, I believe strongly, a college basketball season. And based on what we're seeing with the other sports and with the way the cases are going in the country, I expect that season will have to deal with interruptions from time to time. But I don't have much doubt that we're going to end it with a Final Four. I just don't think there will be 75,000 people in the stands.
No, Mike, and you wrote this week also so very well about all those sports that you just listed have had, really seminal moments, really fork in the road moments, and the calls for shut it down and the gleeful calls by I think too many inside the sports world to shut it down over any real or perceived stumbling block.
Yeah, obviously, you're a Cardinals fan, aren't you, Stan?
I am.
Yeah, and so they were the most obvious case in baseball of having significant problems. I mean, the Marlins were the first, but it became more protracted with the Cardinals, and they still got to, in the end, 58 games on a 60-game schedule. And so it shows that even those that encountered difficult circumstances were able to find a way to get to the end. The Tennessee Titans right up the road. They had some problems relative to COVID. How much of them were self-inflicted? I mean, I think the NFL suggests that their investigation suggests that at the very least they were not taking it as seriously as they needed to, and as a result were fined. The punishment could have been worse, but even the game that they had postponed just came off this past weekend. They played the Steelers, played them well, and that game happened, and now they're back on course for moving forward in their season. And so I think that I don't really understand the hair trigger to go to shut it down. I never did. I never understood what the value of that is, what the payoff for that is, but I've seen it in every single circumstance when teams or leagues have encountered issues. And in college basketball, I haven't seen as much shut it down since the ESPN announced it was pulling out of the 8 events it owns and not going to stage them in 2020. I haven't seen as much of that, but I have seen sort of its cousin, which is conference games only. And there are legitimate reasons to stage conference games only. I think in some cases it's simply a matter of economics. The teams aren't going to make the kind of money at the lower levels that they ordinarily would playing out of conference. The travel is expensive and risky. It's hard to find opponents that have the same protocols as they do. If you play a high major school that's got much more stringent protocols, do they really want to play you if you have lesser protocols and maybe pose a risk to them in the viral sense? So there's that reason, and then there's the reason of simply you as a conference don't want to put your teams at that risk, and you would rather just go ahead and play conference games. That's fine if that's what you do, but you don't do it simply because, well, we had a problem, so it's easier. Let's just give it up. And that's not logical. That's not that there's no value in that. There's a great value relative to the season if we can have Gonzaga against Baylor or Duke against Michigan State or whatever. There's the ability to establish a clearer path to the NCAA tournament, and there's the entertainment value for the fans, and there's the competitive value for athletes who want to play in these games. I talked to Mick Cronin, used to be the Cincinnati coach and now is at UCLA. I talked to him a couple weeks ago, and they were planning to go to Florida. Somewhat, it's obviously a long trip for them. It was going to be an inconvenience. It'd be much easier on their athletes to just, call up Northridge or somebody and play them at Poly in front of nobody. It'd be easier to get a W, but with everything the players have been through, they want to play big games if they can get some. And so they were going to go to Florida. And now that didn't come off, they called San Diego State and said, hey, let's play. And let's get on the floor and play. And so instead of doing that, that's what they're going to do. They want to do that because players want to play in those kinds of games.
He also got a game in Cleveland on December the 19th. I think it's against Ohio State. So
no, they're going to play Kentucky.
Oh, they're playing Kentucky in that. So North Carolina's playing Ohio State. Okay,
I believe those are the matchups.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, I know those four are, and I know Memphis is going to play Ohio State to open up the season. I think that game is still. I know it is, at least since this afternoon in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Here's my only fear. All of the indoor events, you mentioned all the MLS and the NFLs and the Major League Baseballs, for the most part, those are all outside venues. When we went inside and, bless their hearts, the NBA spent $1 billion, but that worked in Orlando. And the NHL spent, I don't know how much, because we haven't seen that figure, but they did it in a couple of places in Canada where the virus is not as potent. And again, it was bubbled. This is not bubbled, and this is a lot of teams traveling. I know that there is protocol in the American that is 3 times a week testing, and it's happened in football and in basketball. I am imagining that every one of these conferences will have to do that, but it's the fear, I guess, of the unknown. We don't know because we haven't done travel like this with a bunch of teams in an indoor setting. That's what scares you.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I'm really in favor of, or I would advocate no fans, because the game itself is more important than having 1,000 people, 2,000 people. It depends on the capacity of the building. Right. To me, the athletes getting to compete and everybody getting a chance to watch it via television, I think, is more important than those 1,000 people getting into the arena and not generating that much income for the various schools that it's going to be such a difference maker. And by not having them in the building, I think you make it that much safer, for lack of a better term. So I'm really in favor of trying to limit that, maybe to family members, that sort of thing. Those schools and communities that go in that direction, I think, especially based on what you said, the indoor versus outdoor, having 5,000 people in a 60,000 seat NFL stadium, I don't think is that problematic because it's you can space them out so easily, and it is outdoors. But I think you're right that when you move indoors, you add another element to the equation, and it's probably safer to go with just saying, okay, everybody stay home and watch it on TV.
Mike, if we get to the NCAA tournament, and I sure hope we do, and I think we will, how do you think it will look? Will Memphis host a Sweet 16 round and punch a ticket to the Final Four? Or how do you think? Goodness, predicting come March, hard to do. Predicting tomorrow is hard to do. How do you think it'll look?
If I had to put a nickel on it now, at one of these many online sports books that are out there now, I think that because it's so important that they get it in, and because if the NCAA could stage a tournament that was 64 teams and do it in a bubble, they're going to make close to $800 million just on their television content. I mean, they can deliver on that, on that. Basically, even if you didn't have the first 4 this year and just went straight 64, that's close to $800 million. They'd lose in income the audience, which brings in, I think, with everything considered, including hospitality and all the rest. I think they come close to another 200. So I think the importance of that 800 outweighs that small portion of the 200 that they'd be able to recover by having limited capacity. So I would say that it's more likely, in my estimation, that by the time we get to March, the NCAA tournament is staged in some sort of bubble. And I think that would be fairly easy to construct, maybe in 2 sites or 3 sites, maybe an East region, a West region, and then, like a final region or something like that. I mean, here in Indianapolis, we've got Bankers Life Fieldhouse and we have Hinkle Fieldhouse. We have the State Fair Coliseum. You could probably pull it off just in Indianapolis if you wanted to. If you wanted to stretch it out to, like I said, to having, an East region, a West region, and a Final Four, you might be able to do that. I'm not sure that's how it'll turn out, exactly how they would create a bubble or where they would, but I still think that's, my feeling is that there's greater odds that they would do that, as if we sit here today with cases escalating and everything, than not.
I think you're right. I mean, based on everything I've read, let's just say worst case scenario, we have this second and third wave because it's fall and winter, and we don't have vaccine or we don't have treatment or we don't have the combination. Even though I think I think they're both right around the corner personally, but we'll see. But if that doesn't happen, and we have these waves, I could foresee that you would still play in some sort of bubble. Each conference would have their own tournament so that they would at least have some representation, and then you would play that tournament that you're talking about because it brings in so much money, and it really wouldn't be that much more expensive than the expenses you already pay out, considering, and people aren't aware of this, but the NCAA pays for your airfare, they pay for your hotel, not for all the party, but for most of the party on your team. And that's part of your reward for making the tournament. They pay those expenses. So doing a bubble situation would not be that much more expensive. And when you think about it, you're only losing 20%, which is what you get from the gate from attendance. You're still getting 80% of your money. That sure makes a lot of sense to me, to do everything you can to play it.
Exactly. And it's some, like the NBA's a fair amount of the expense that the NBA undertook to do the bubble was that it was a long bubble. I mean, it was 3 months.
Yeah.
And another part of it was the construction of a more attractive background for the game than they would have had if they just had an empty gym. And the NHL did the same. They created this background that was much more than just a bunch of empty seats. The NCAA could or could not do that. It depend on how much they costed it out at and whether or not they thought it was worth it. Because at the end of the day, I mean, the NBA bubble wasn't better because those people, that they had that video board and all that. I mean, I don't know how much all that cost. I mean, it didn't add anything to the games to me. When I watch sports, I'm not paying attention to what's behind the field of play. I'm paying attention to the field of play. The announcers, what they say, what the players are doing, what the referees are calling. That's what the score is in the time left. That's what really matters.
Okay, go ahead.
With the older coaches in college basketball, have you visited with them about how apprehensive, even fear of being on an airplane, of being indoors at practice, of being indoors at games, being indoors at meetings? I mean, basketball, just very obviously, I mean, it's constantly indoors. You don't go outside to practice like you do in football.
Yeah, I mean, I think that most of them are being careful and trying not to do anything, but most of them are dealing with athletes that are being tested on a very regular basis. when you talk about the older coaches, I mean, they're at the wealthiest schools almost exclusively. I mean, even Rick Byrd retired a few years ago. So there aren't that many coaches that are in their 60s or 70s that aren't coaching at the highest level where the testing is the most vigorous. And so I think they feel safe in the environment they're in, and they're relying on the athletes that they're coaching to basically stay constrained to those environments for the most part. I mean, we talked to Jeremy Roach, who's a freshman point guard at Duke the other day on a Zoom call, a media Zoom call, and Jeremy was asked, how much he's interacting with the Duke student body in his freshman year, and he's like, man, I don't ever see any of them.
Right.
I see the guys on my team, and I see Coach K and the rest. I mean, that's basically what he said. That's not happening. I spoke to two football players, Sean Wade and Wyatt Davis from Ohio State, and they have an 8-game season. They played one game so far. They have 7 games remaining, and then plus a conference championship round game. And their intent is to make the college football playoff, and they're probably good enough. But they understand. I mean, they got to play every game. They really don't feel like they can afford to miss one. So they are vehement about not exiting what amounts to the football bubble. The coaches, Brian Day, the coach at Ohio State, said that he wears his mask inside his house because his kids are going to school, and he doesn't want to pick up anything that he would then take back with him to the football complex.
Wow.
So they're all being extraordinarily careful. Now, again, like I said before, some of it's just bad luck. You can't guarantee that you're not going to get this if you are out interacting in the public in any way. You can't guarantee it, even if you're masking, even if you're distancing. You can't guarantee it. You can maybe minimize your odds, but you can't guarantee it. So they have to be as careful as they can, and hope the people around them are doing the same, and then hope that little bit of bad luck doesn't get them either with that or with any other circumstance.
I'm trying to think of who the oldest guys are. Krzyzewski, Roy Williams. Jim
Boeheim.
They're saying Jim Boeheim's in his 70s. In the American, I think Kelvin Sampson is the oldest guy, but I think he's in his late 60s, mid to late 60s. It's pretty much young man's game, but that is intriguing. Speaking of the American, I have 2 things real quick before we run out of time. The coaches poll came out, and it was Houston 1, Memphis 2. That seems reasonable to me. I'd love your take on that. And then the other aspect is what is going to happen with Greg Marshall at Wichita State?
Well, the second question is the more complicated, so I'll take that first.
Sure.
I think that what will happen to Greg Marshall is what the most powerful people in the athletic community in Wichita want to happen. And I think at is Mr. Koch the most powerful voice? I mean, that's where a lot of the money came from, both to build or refurbish their arena and to pay Greg at a high major level, certainly. And so I would say that person would have a very loud voice in whether or not Greg is retained. Presuming that, and of course that's presuming that the investigation that they have, their self-investigation, were to come to the same conclusion on the facts or similar conclusions on the facts as Jeff Goodman's investigation did. I would think that it would come down to that person, to the Wichita State administration, maybe to a lesser extent them. But if I had to guess, again, somewhat similar to the NCAA tournament guess, I would guess he stays. That would be my guess. At most schools, I would say the decision would have been made. Again, it somewhat depends on the timing of the self-investigation. But at a lot of schools, he would at least be on leave by now based on what was said on the record by a particular player. This is not an anonymous player,
right?
That said this. If it was an anonymous player, maybe different. But Shaquille Morris came on the record and said, "This is what happened," and it was corroborated by several anonymous sources. And I believe, if I remember reading correctly, I believe one other on the record source corroborated what Shaquille said happened. That would ordinarily at least say, okay, you're sitting this out until we figure out what happened. And I don't think that's happened at Wichita either.
No. 1-2.
So the other question
is,
I think that sounds exactly right. Cincinnati was placed fourth. I think that, losing UConn is in this particular season is a disappointment because I think they were ready to be good again, and that would have empowered the top of the league. They were ready to be, first, second, third, fourth, somewhere in there, NCAA tournament worthy, and for them to exit now damages the league from a competitive standpoint. But I think Memphis's resurgence, if they are able to take it to the next step this year, and I think they should, Houston it should be terrific. They have most of their guys back from a year ago. I'll be interested to see what happens at Cincy because they had. It was rocky for them at times last year, but they ultimately ended up getting a share of the league title, and they still have some very good players back from that team. So it should be an entertaining year in the league. I think it's a year though in which the league, the teams at the top need to create some separation because I don't know that the bottom is going to be quite as good, and I don't know that that the league as a whole is going to get the opportunities it needs to show we're still, hey, we're right there. We're one of the seven. They're not going to get as many opportunities because of the limited schedule and
right.
And the truncated or eliminated MTE, the big tournaments.
Couldn't agree with you more. And you're always on the money. That's why we love having you. I can't believe we're here. I'm so glad, and I can't wait to chat with you every Wednesday now, 5 o'clock Memphis time, for the rest of the year through the Final Four. Fingers crossed. Thank you, Mike, so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you.
That is Mike DeCourcy, who writes college basketball like nobody else for the Sporting News, and he's brought to you every week now by the Memphis Tourism and Memphis Sports Council. Our title sponsor for this hour of the program is Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, and Genesis of Olive Branch. Same building, same crew, a crew that's been together for 13 years. They have now set the bar for the way car business should be done. First off, they got products, so good with this technology. In fact, Hyundai was tied for the most top safety pick vehicles in 2020. Technology, and so durable, you get a limited lifetime powertrain warranty on every new car and a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package. That's on every new Hyundai, on every new Genesis, every new car. And all the 2021s are arriving. The SUV from Genesis is coming soon. Can't wait to see what that looks like. You need to see what the car business should be like by getting on Lamar into Mississippi. First exit on Highway 78 is Craft Road. Turn left. You're right there at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. Let's take a quick time out. When we come back, our friend Russell Copeland, who will be on the call with me this Saturday in Cincinnati, and of course on the NFL, and we got the Falcons and the Panthers tonight right here on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1. We'll get his take on all of that in just 1 second. This is Sports Time on Sports 56.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio. We are Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, excludes ACQ fee, $10,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $6.50 acquisition fee, Forte ME $275,992, MSRP $20,510, Soul L706 $3372, MSRP $21,885, K5 MG 003,199, MSRP $25,725, K900 MSRP $65,610, L60 $26,907, L60 $21,220, includes all rebates and incentives, PF $695, excludes tax final license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/1/2020. Dealer stock only. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Where can you find best mass market branded initial quality 5 years running for Kia with J.D. Powers? We Gossett at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah. Take your pick. 2021 Kia Forte or 2020 Kia Soul. $149 a month lease, 36 months. 2021 Kia K5 beats Toyota Camry with more passenger cargo headroom and legroom volume, plus a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. $189 a month lease for 36 months, all just $3149 due at signing. Plus 2020 K900, $10,000 off MSRP. So come get happy at Gossett Kia, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? You're probably looking for some fuel treatment. It helps clean your engine to improve your gas mileage and keep it running longer. Right now, you can get 2 bottles of Lucas Complete Fuel Treatment for just $8, plus a $1 bonus reward if you're an AutoZone Rewards member. Not a member? Don't worry. You can sign up fast, right here in store or on AutoZone.com. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions apply. See terms at AutoZone.com/rewards.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
You know what's really scary? Seeing just how much you could have been saving on car insurance by switching to Geico. It's almost as scary as that homemade elf costume your mom made you wear in junior high school. No, Geico can't erase the memory of tripping down the hallway in oversized pointy shoes, but they can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Stop waking up at night in a cold sweat, wondering what happened to that green onesie. Just switch to Geico and save. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Man, we've had a lot of rain, haven't we? Have you checked your roof? Have you thought about your roof? You know, roofing is an essential emergency service. I don't want it to become an emergency in your home. That's why I like to tell you, please call my guys, Brian Elder Roofing Solution. That's Brian Elder himself. Or call me, Chris Price. Chris Price is very much involved in this company, and they love coming out and helping you. If you've got any kind of questions, if you see any of your roof in disarray, let them come out. They'll call the insurance company for you. If there's any shingles that are out of place or anything of that nature, they will come out and they will check it out. And they only use the best products on the market. And by the way, I mean, if it's a little quick fix, that's what they'll do. If it's something major that maybe is not your fault, like I said, they'll call the insurance company or they'll take care of it all. And they've got the best warranty for any roofing contractors in this area, period. It's the no questions asked warranty. It sets them apart. And they only use the latest technology and equipment. Heck, they like to say they'll measure your roof from outer space, and they can. The bottom line here is this. They really want to come out and meet you and check out your roof. So to set up a free consultation, you call 867-0303. That's 867-0303 for Brian Elder Roofing Solutions. Russell Copeland joins us now. We got an NFL football game tonight, Falcons at the Panthers. But, Russell, there's a lot of other news today for sure, including the cutting of the former Tiger defensive lineman Dontari Poe by the Cowboys, and there are some that feel he may have made political statements that rubbed Jerry Jones the wrong way, and Jerry Jones was asked that at the press conference when they cut him, and he said, no, the guy weighed 30 pounds too much. That's why we cut him. He wasn't doing his job. What's your sense of what happened to Dontari Poe? I think you may know him, Russell.
Well, I'm not going to necessarily say that it was political, but Jerry has made a stance as far as kneeling in the past, but I'm not going to buy that he was overweight. He's around the same size that he was when he came into the National Football League and ran a 4.9. Of course, he's 30 years old. The bottom line is the Dallas Cowboys are not winning. They brought in a lot of names that are not getting it done, and that includes Everson Griffin. So he's not producing on the field. He's basically averaging 1 tackle per game. And that's really what it comes down to. This defense is not producing, and that's what you have to do. You have to start cleaning house and get players on the field that's going to produce and see where you are toward the end of the season.
Yeah, Russell, I think it would be, and you sure didn't, and Dave didn't voice it either. I think it would be naive to think that there wasn't something there with the stands, and it very much irked Jerry Jones. But I think we also know, as you mostly just said, and now he the position he's playing, everybody's kind of touching on the 0 sacks. They're not asking Dontari Poe to rush the quarterback. His job is to be the run plugger, maintain the double team, let the linebackers roam around. I don't even know if his stat line is supposed to be that impressive, but he hadn't played well, and that defense hadn't played well. If that defense were playing well and he was playing well, Jerry Jones wouldn't mind the political stuff near as much, in my opinion.
Most definitely, and it comes down with production, and he has had an opportunity to sit down with Dontari Poe and ask him as far as his political statement. It comes to the point when you're losing the way the Cowboys are losing, and you put together all these great names on defense, and you go out and sign a lot of the players that they have on offense, the expectations for this football was not to be towards the end of the division. People were talking about playoffs and perhaps Super Bowl. And honestly, guys, I was with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I've experienced that. When you're losing, then at the end of the day, players get cut. Big names get cut. Coaches get fired. And this is just the first step if the Dallas Cowboys can't turn it around, and it's going to start with playing Philadelphia on Sunday.
Best game on Sunday is the Steelers and the Ravens, don't you think? And the Steelers have the best record, the only undefeated record in the National Football League, but everybody, or I should say most people, still think that the best team in the AFC is the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you think?
Well, what the Pittsburgh Steelers have been able to do this year has been extraordinary offensively and defense, but they're playing against the Baltimore Ravens, and I think many picked the Baltimore Ravens as the best team in the AFC. I think this Baltimore Ravens team has been flying under the radar since they played against Kansas City, and it seems like Kansas City dominated this game. When I look at this game, guys, I see a black and blue game. I see the same teams on both sides, a mirrored team. And I still like the Baltimore Ravens, even though I love what Pittsburgh Steelers have been doing this year. I don't think they're going to go undefeated, and I think this is going to be one of the biggest tests that they'll have to face against the Ravens. I like the Ravens when they play come Sunday, but I think it'll be an outstanding game. It'll be a hard-hitting game, a game that's going to leave players in the ice tub come Monday. But I like the Baltimore Ravens. I think we're forgetting about how good this team is offensively and defensively.
And that division, I mean, with Cincinnati being they're not a factor, but Joe Burrow's made it exciting. Cleveland definitely better after they listened to your advice of run the ball, pound the rock, take some pressure off Baker Mayfield. But then at the top, it's these two. It's Mike Tomlin, it's John Harbaugh, and them meeting for the 25th time in the regular season. That's the most ever between two coaches that have won Super Bowls. I mean, both of these coaches are walking into Canton someday.
And I love what Mike Tomlinson has been able to do over the past couple of years. When you look at last year, he loses Big Ben, and he was still able to keep his football team together. He was able to keep that team together as far as not pointing fingers. You lose Antonio Brown, you lose your running back, and you're still able to go 8-8. Now you come back this year, you reinvent your team, you get your team remotivated, and they're playing outstanding. I just look at Baltimore, that everyone is just like, oh, man, you see how they played against Kansas City? But I think they have a great team, and I think they give the Steelers their first loss.
You know what I love about this? You mentioned Tomlin and Harbaugh. This will be the 25th time that they face each other. So not only are they great, but obviously they've been able to stick around in the same situation for a long, long time.
Exactly, and that means that both of these coaches are winning. And when you look at John Harbaugh, I think he made a decision when his job was on the line a couple of years ago. He went in and he said, let me draft Lamar Jackson. I want to play him at quarterback. And he put his job on the line, and it has worked out for him. I love John Harbaugh. He was a special teams coach when I was in Philadelphia. He's a great coach. He's a player's guy. And the same thing with Mike Tomlinson. He has the Memphis connection. And both of these guys are well-respected. Both of these teams are well-respected. It should be an outstanding game, a physical game. I just like Baltimore.
And somebody's going to be in first place in the NFC East with the matchup they have this weekend, and they're not going to turn down that playoff bid, are they?
You know, guys, when you look at Dallas and you look at Philadelphia, and we know that this conference, this division has been abysmal, but it's still a lot of competition that's competing for first place because all of these teams are so close. We talked a little bit about Dallas, and I think that at the end of the day, Dallas has to be able to find some leaders. They have to be able to make some plays. They've got a lot of playmakers, but now you look at the quarterback situation, it's totally different. Well, Philadelphia has been decimated with injuries. They're trying to get, the train back on the track. I just love this matchup. Both of these teams do not like each other, but I'm going to go across a little bit. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. I've been critical of how they've been playing along with everyone else, but I think overall they have the best talent, and I just believe that they can get better play out of their quarterback. And maybe perhaps some of these changes, guys, when you release players, then it goes through the locker room and say, hey, man, my job, I don't have any security. And I think these players will step up and make plays. I think it'll be tough, but give me Dallas.
Wow. Is Andy Dalton playing in this game?
Well, I think it's still a question mark. But, when you look at it, Dave, everyone gets paid. And you look at Philadelphia Eagles, they've got a lot of injuries as well. They've got injuries on the defensive side. They've got injuries on the offensive side. They got running back situations. Carson Wentz has not been playing well. It's a National Football League. San Francisco has 16 players, guys. 16 players have been on IR.
Yeah.
They've been able to get their
team still competitive.
Yes, and the next man up. You get paid a lot of money to play professionally. I think the Dallas Cowboys find a way to get it done because honestly, Jerry Jones is making a statement. Let's be honest. Most of the time, Jerry says a lot of things, but he loves his players. And when you start seeing players get cut and traded in the middle of the season, it's pretty bad in Big D. And I think these players will respond.
The psyche may be injured of my Chicago Bears. Are you still a Chicago believer after what you saw the other night on Monday night? And do you think Matt Nagy ought to hand over the play calling to somebody else?
I think when you look at them offensively, I think that's a possibility, especially when you look at how well they're playing defensively. But they didn't score a touchdown the other night. And that's alarming. When you look at the weapons that they have some weapons outside. And when you have a Super Bowl winning quarterback that comes out publicly and questions, your head coach with something I don't agree with, but something is going on that the players see that the coach is not seeing, and they're not getting it done. But I think that he may need to think about that because this is a football team that I think has a great chance of going to the playoffs. They have a good football team offensively and defensively, but the play calling has to be a question mark when you do not score an offensive touchdown.
Tonight's game, I think Matt Rule off to a pretty good start first year for the Panthers. They've been without McCaffrey a lot of the year. They're trying to sort through a lot. A win tonight, 4-4, they have to feel pretty good.
That'd be great. I think it'd be great.
Man, Carolina has done tremendous when you look at them rebuilding and you look at what Matt Rule's been able to do, he's trying to emulate what he did at Temple and what he did at Baylor. And when you flip that, when I look at the talent that the Falcons have, I just really simply can't believe this is a 1-6 football team. And when I look at some of their games, how close they've been, they lose to the Dallas Cowboys, on an onside kick. They lose last week, the last seconds to Detroit. They've been into some football games. I just think that this team right here is too talented to lose. I'm going to go on the other side on this one. I think the Atlanta Falcons, I think they've been playing good under Raheem Morris. He's been a head coach before. I think they go out, they make some plays, and they win the football game against a very good, competitive Panthers team.
We were talking a little earlier about injuries everywhere. Well, the New England Patriots now, Edelman's out of this game. Cam Newton, some people don't think should even be starting anymore, although Bill Belichick is saying he's the best quarterback we got. I'm going to stay with him. You got a Buffalo team that is clearly a better team in that division. What's going to happen this week with them? And is this the beginning of the end of the Belichick era in New England?
Dave, the New England Patriots have had a chokehold on this division for the past 20 years, and I think I said it best. I said the Buffalo Bills have the best football team top to bottom since the 90s era when I was a part of the Bills in the K-Gun. This is the perfect time for the New England Patriots. I'm not going to say it's the end of it, but right now things do not look well in New England. They still have their defense, but they simply do not have any weapons. You have a quarterback that had COVID-19. He did not practice for a couple of weeks. He was already trying to learn the offense, did not know that. Now you have weapons outside. The only weapon that you have, Edelman, is not playing. They simply do not have anything outside. Give me the Buffalo Bills, even though the Bills have not played the way they played the first 3 or 4 games the last couple of weeks. But I think it's a perfect time. You're going into Rich Stadium. The Bills win this football game. But listen, Belichick will not lay down. That defense is going to come and try to make some plays and try to win the football game on a defensive side. But I like the Bills.
and it's got to be killing him. It's really just highlighted how really average this roster was, and now that it is, and Julian Edelman out for the year. Russell, I sure if you've got more NFL swings you'd like to make, please do so before we get to Tigers. If not, the biggest game of the year for the Tigers Saturday.
Man, outstanding game, and as a former player, when you're playing against a team of this magnitude, a team that's ranked high in the nation, you want to go out and play. And I think the Tigers have done a tremendous job. I think Coach Ryan Silverfield, out of everything that he's had to go against, all the adversity, he has his football team playing. When you lose Gainwell, you lose Coxie, and you do not have some of the playmakers, Antonio Gibson, coming back, they have been very competitive. And Dave, we did the game at SMU, and that drive was leading to win the football game.
Yep.
And now when I look at Cincinnati is who they are. They are the bully type of team. They are very good offensive and defensive. They want to play physical. The Tigers will be able to match that intensity is going to be the question. I think they do. But I think the Tigers need to be able to score points. I think they need to move the football very fast to get this team into a different mode and turn it over to their quarterback and see how Desmond Ridder can be able to get a football team when he's from behind instead of when they're winning. They have the Baltimore Ravens type of team. They want to stay ahead. They want to pound you and beat you. But how can this team respond if they get behind?
Interesting. This offense that was, good last year against Cincinnati twice, close games. Of all the players that played in that game, you have two offensive linemen, and both of them are in a different position. You do have the same quarterback, and that's it. You realize you don't have the same running backs. You don't have the same star wide receiver. It's really three guys, and you're up against the best defense by far in the conference. So what do they got to do in order to penetrate that defense, Russell?
The difference maker is Brady White. How Brady White has put this football team on his back. But I think first and foremost, they have to protect the football. You cannot go on the road and turn the football over, especially against a team that controls the clock and play very physical. But they're going to have to be able to win in the trenches, no question. They're going to have to be physical up front offensively and defensively, and they're going to have to be able to contain Desmond Ridder. So that goes to that defense. That defense has to be able to tackle. You cannot take a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 short yards and let him go for 70 or 80. And you also have to be able to make plays on the back end. But I think overall, guys, this is a football team that won't lay down. We've seen it this season. They play hard. They play with a whole lot of heart. They'll be ready to play against this team. I just think they make more plays than Cincinnati. And this is the champion. The Tigers are the champions. People forget. It's easy to jump off the bandwagon when things don't look well, when you lose some of your wide receiver, you lose your running back. But they have showed the resiliency that they need. They come out, they stick together, they play. They make more plays to win this football game against Cincinnati.
Wow. That's big. And I know you think a lot of them because you were telling me that Ridder reminds you of who?
He reminds me of Colin Kaepernick. The way he runs with the football, the long strides, the strong arm. And when Kaepernick first came in, he was not consistent as far as throwing the football. He reminds me a lot. He can hurt you, but I think the defense can be able to do enough to stop him because they have been very good against the run.
He is Russell Copeland. You'll listen to him with me on Saturday and, of course, every Thursday right here. Thank you, Russell. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.
See you in Cincy.
Russell Copeland with us every Thursday, and he'll be in Cincinnati alongside Dave Woloshin on Saturday for the Tigers and UC. And on Saturday, you need to stock up for a big game watching day. The Tigers kick off at 11. Started at Jason's Deli with getting plenty of that great food to go. All the great locations like Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Huge Tiger fans in Jason's Deli. Over 200 Memphis area Jason's Deli associates. They like to say wholesome food forever. It's a family thing, and the food right now on a cold, raw day like today Try some of those soups like the broccoli cheese soup, the chicken noodle soup, fire roasted tortilla, the organic vegetable, the tomato basil, my favorite, the chili. I was there last night at Jason's Deli. Don't forget about them at dinner time. I know often we may kind of just stereotype them as a lunch place. Oh, no, it's more than that. I was there last night at dinner, and it was packed over in Park Place. The chili with the sour cream, onions, cheese on top, Southwest chicken chili. You can get it as well. Spicy seafood gumbo, all the good food at Jason's Deli, all the salads. The chicken club salad, the nutty mixed up salad, my favorite, the taco salad, the Mesa chicken salad, all so very good. The meats, the breads, the spreads, the cheeses, the sandwiches, the beef eater, the Reuben, the steak po' boy, all so good and good for you. Plenty of organic food to choose from. The great salad bar, over 30 items to choose from there. One change with the complimentary free ice cream. You have to ask the wait staff for it, and they'll go and get it and bring it to you. No more dealing around the machine. Dave, known poacher that you are, make sure that you're cleared even. No, you're cleared even for that. You're on scholarship for life there, so you're cleared even there.
I hope
that
so.
salad bar, when I said 30 items to choose from, they will prepare the salad for you as well. Catering anytime, anywhere. Holiday season starting to approach. Don't forget about them for any type of event you're going to be having. Don't forget Jason's Deli. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Back in a minute. We put a wrap on this second hour on this Thursday on Sports Time on Sports 56.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
Buy your next car or truck at Streamline Auto Smart. Your next smart decision. All credit welcome. Drive off in your new low-mileage pre-owned car or truck. From low-end cars to the most luxurious sports car. Ask about the 48-hour vehicle locator. Let Streamline Auto Smart do the looking for you. Close your deal within 1 hour. No waiting. It's quick and easy at Streamline Auto Smart. Your next smart decision. 2558 Mount Moriah. Call Streamline Auto Smart 901-235-8845. Your next smart decision.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Westies, you know, the old North End Pinch District, a great Memphis tradition. Come hungry for home cooking, literally over 200 items ranging from fried green tomatoes, spinach artichoke dip, hot tamales, chili, chicken and dumplings, incredible moist and crispy chicken tenders, shrimp creole, jambalaya, gator gumbo, ribeye that includes salad and baked potato for only $23.95, smoked wet rib slabs including slaw and beans, french fries or tater tots around $24, or just a great cheeseburger and fries or tater tots for only $8.95. Come by or call for downtown delivery 543-2GO. Then top it off with Jake's original hot fudge pie. Written up as Memphis Best. Westies at 346 North Main Street. Open daily 11A to 2A. Good friends, neighborhood favorite, Westies. Westies regulars understand Westies, the North End, and we have the doors you're looking for. Check them out, westiesmemphis.com. Westies at the North End, Memphis Best.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Dan Wetzel with Yahoo Sports wrote an interesting article today about Nebraska in the Big Ten. Not working, not a good fit. Said the Cornhuskers have been awkward ever since they joined the conference. The latest scheduling mishap shows maybe they should go their separate ways. Could this be the impetus for the next round of all these dominoes to fall? And if it were, Brad, it would be the best time for Memphis for it to occur, because this is in the middle of, an era where they are outstanding.
Mm-hmm. They are positioned perfectly, and you have to be whenever that buying opportunity shows up. All right, so let's say Nebraska says we've had enough. Yep. It never really worked out. They took the cash, and look what happened. Who's the natural for that Big Ten spot? They're not going to want to fall on an odd number. They're going to want to fill that. Who would be natural for that?
I'll tell you who I would go for. There's two schools I would go for. They've already gone for them, but I go right back to them. And those two schools are either Notre Dame or Missouri. Missouri is a better fit in the Big Ten than they are in the SEC.
What do they bring you?
Well, they bring you the Midwest, same time zone.
Do they?
Yeah. They bring you
what
St.
Nebraska
Louis.
football brought you?
Maybe not. Well, which Nebraska are we talking about? Are we talking about the one that we've seen the last few years, or are we talking about the one that had Tom Osborne leading it? Or
the reputation of Nebraska that got them into the Big Ten. There's no reputation there for Mizzou.
No, there's never been that, but it is a solid one that is more geographical, that makes more sense, that and I think even academically
and
is
they
more
fit better
inclined.
there than they do in the SEC.
I think so. Well, certainly geographically, and with the fans that have grown up now, everything changes through generations. But my generation would recognize Missouri more as a Midwest kind of
Big Eight.
A Big Eight.
Me too.
Yeah.
So we're just naturally thinking that Nebraska goes back to Big 12, no matter what the numbers are,
That's
whether
what
it's
I
12
would
or not. Well, I know it's 10.
Well,
Would
how
they
about
want-
with the – I'm sorry, Brett. I want
Go ahead, Drew.
to throw this out there real quick. Well, if the Big 10 wants to stay at even numbers and the Big 12 decides they want to stay at even numbers at 10, why don't we have a Nebraska-West Virginia switch?
Well, I don't think
West Virginia geographically fits better in the Big Ten.
No, it does not. The Big Ten is not a West Virginia kind of conference.
Geographically, though, it fits, and West Virginia does not fit in the Big 12.
But snootiness, I think they'd look right down their noses at West Virginia.
They would. I don't think West Virginia would be the kind of fit that
What about
they
Kentucky
are
to the
looking
Big
for.
Ten?
Why would Kentucky leave where they have traditionally always been? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Although I can understand geography to a certain extent. In close to Ohio, right there.
But we left the geography a long time ago. I mean, nothing. It really doesn't have to fit anymore. I mean, used to it was the Southeastern Conference. Now it spans from Columbia to Columbia.
It does.
From College Station to Columbia.
I think it's the kind of institution that fits you best too.
It would just take one to set off these dominoes that we just kind of batted around.
I would
make
think
sure it happens next June.
The one that is most unhappy right now is Nebraska. I think Dan Wetzel put his finger right on the hot button there.
It's never fit.
3 touchdowns in a couple of weekends. Wow, Sheldon, Rosengarten, Mark Spensdorf. He doesn't let fall football season slow him down. People often say, when you want the job done, you call my guy Sheldon. Recently, he was about to put a home on the market in Germantown, but it sold the day before. The following weekend, he listed 2 on Friday, and the one in East Memphis had 3 offers by Saturday night. The one in Cordova had 4 offers by Sunday evening. Wow. Is the real estate market that good? Well, it can be. There's no seasonal slowdown during the football season if Sheldon is your quarterback. So if you or someone you know is thinking about selling their home, before you draft a quarterback, make sure you have some tryouts with 2 or 3 and let Sheldon be one of those that runs his pass pattern for you. You can reach Sheldon at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. Do it now. That's Sheldon at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. 2 hours in the books. When we come back, Greg Gaston on Talkin' Tigers. That is next.
Looking for some action on your favorite games? Action247.com is at your service. Action 24/7 free-to-play games are brought to you by Tennesseans for Tennesseans. Come play with us online at Action247.com. Our free-to-play games are fun and easy. Go to Action247.com and click Let's Play. And best of all, you can win cash prizes. That's right, cash prizes. Free to play online at Action247.com. You got action.
Brandon Gaudin and Tony Baselli here from Westwood One with a Thursday night football preview sponsored by Prilosec. Treat your frequent heartburn with Prilosec OTC. We're in Charlotte to kick off Week 8 with NFC South action between the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Tony, how do you see this one?
Well, Brandon, it's a division rematch. These two teams saw each other just a few weeks ago with Carolina coming out on top. And the question is, will the Atlanta Falcons get another double-digit lead and find an improbable way to lose a football game? They're facing a gritty Carolina Panther team under first-year head coach Matt Rule. Teddy Bridgewater's at the helm, and they play tough week in, week out.
All right, look forward to it, Tony. Join us for the Falcons at the Panthers on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to PrilosecOTC.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started, plus 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, zero heartburn. Go to PrilosecOTC.com and sign up today. Zero heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Of course we can help you with that oil change. Doing it yourself is a great way to save some money. Right now you can get 5 quarts of Castrol GTX high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $28.99. And we've got even more ways to get it. Just order online with our next day delivery or free same day store pickup. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
All 75 Mazda 2.99, Mirage, LHO 10129, G4, LHF 07863, Eclipse, LZO 15893, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/1/2020 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
How about a brand new ride that gets 43 mpg highway, seats 5, plus costs less than $4 a day? We Gossett at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage, buy for $11,100 or $99 a month. 2020 G4, 41 mpg highway, $139 a month, or buy for $12,435. And 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $19,107 or $229 a month. Plus, confidence today, tomorrow, and long into the future with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage, $99 a month. Mirage G4, $139 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $229 a month. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour on a very busy Thursday. Hey, Tennessee, sports betting is almost here in FanDuel Sportsbook. They're giving you an exclusive offer to get started right now. FanDuel Sportsbook giving users $50 in free bets just for signing up. You heard that right. They're giving you $50 in free site credit to register and verify early. No deposit required. FanDuel, America's #1 sports betting site for a reason. They've got odds on all the biggest sports and a simple, intuitive app that makes it easy to find the bet you're looking for. Then lock it in on all the big games. Lock it in like I do. Don't leave home without it. And unlike other sports books, once you win, FanDuel gets you your cash in as little as 24 hours. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. But right now, the right thing for you to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and check out their fantastic app for yourself. Just be sure to sign up and register using promo code CASH so they know we sent you. When you verify your account, you'll receive $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live. That's promo code CASH to get $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable. Expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales down on Goodman Road, 5704 Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience that DeSoto Auto Sales. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. 662-890-7184. Go online and check out the many happy and very pleased referrals and look at all those beautiful cars. All the cars on the lot are test driven, checked out from bumper to bumper, head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. And if by chance they don't have it, they'll go out and find the car to suit you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you walk in and you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees. Laid back atmosphere, no high pressure sales, but they care about your time and they want you to have the ultimate car experience. You walk in within 45 minutes, test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in less than an hour. About 45 minutes, plenty of time to do it over your busy lunch hour or like right now, right after work. We're living in a world today that time matters, and they know it at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
I just got the nicest little email from Memphis City Golf with an aerial view of the fourth hole at Galloway, which is really cool. You know, this is looking toward the west. There's a sunset, and you see the three lakes that are big, prominent part of that hole. It's really gorgeous. And just a reminder, fall back this weekend. Don't miss your tee time. Sunday morning, we do fall back 1 hour. So, and all you golfers out there, remember, if you're playing golf Sunday morning, we're moving on back. Now we're going to talk some Tiger football.
We are. We have a great lineup of sponsors to hear the dulcet tones of the great Greg Gaston, fresh from middays every day right here on Sports 56 and part of the Tiger Sideline Tiger announced team. It's brought to you by Presto Shutters, Bartlett Small Engines, law offices of Stephen Leffler, Stonebridge Golf, Westie's downtown in the historic Pinch District, Christ Community Church, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, and by Southland Casino. And at Southland Casino, they're ready to welcome you back. Blackjack, craps, roulette, slots, all rolling again. Sportsbook hopping. It's reopened. The most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South, ready to welcome you back with all the fun games, roulette, craps, blackjack, and all your favorite slots. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and make the short drive to Southland. They're ready for you, and we're ready for Greg Gaston.
Yeah. Last broadcast on Saturday, he was talking about physicality and matching physicality, and he said, you know what, Memphis is more physical than Temple. Well, Greg Gaston, Memphis will have to be at least that against this Cincinnati team that has the best defense in the league and an offense that can absolutely knock you off with the best offensive line.
No question about it. First of all, good late afternoon to both of you guys, and absolutely that's the case every time you play Cincinnati. We had Ryan Silverfield on, as we do every Thursday, earlier today, and I asked him about the physicality. First against UCF, I said you matched and even exceeded. In Temple, known for the rugged black and blue style of football, you matched that and at times exceeded. And he said, listen, I'm an old offensive lineman, so we have to play physical. And you're right, Waldo, they're going to have to play physical against Cincinnati because Cincinnati's going to bring it defensively. They have some terrific defensive linemen, two great edge rushers, good guys in the secondary that can cover, and if you don't match their physicality, you're going to lose. But so far, I've been very pleasantly surprised that the Tigers have been able to do that. Not that I don't think they're a physical team, but when you're matching against the most physical teams in the league, which annually is Temple and Cincinnati, you got to feel pretty good about that. So I like their chances to be at least as physical as Cincinnati this Saturday.
And Greg, on the other side, Ryan Silverfield, offensive line guy. Just last year, he was the offensive line coach. He's no weeping willow himself. He wants physicality, and I think his team has really shown an ability to persevere this year. I don't know that a first-year head coach has ever been through what he's had to go through, coupled with the huge expectations now with that program, which is a great thing, and he's at least matched it or exceeded it.
Yeah, you want to design your own identity as a coach. How are we going to play under my regime? And certainly with Memphis, you want to continue to play the way you have been for a number of years now offensively. You want to play fast. You don't have to play as fast as UCF, but you want to have explosive, athletic players. But what Silverfield adds, as I just mentioned, and you just reiterated, that he's a former offensive line guy who coached the offensive line, so he wants the physical style. So the identity of this team is not necessarily changing. They are adding the physicality to the skilled athleticism that they have had and been able to feature for a half a dozen years now.
Well, they really like to, and Norvell was this way, and let's face it, Kevin Johns knows that system. And one of the architects of that system with Mike was Ryan Silverfield. They really pride themselves on beating you any which way. Balance is critical for them. And the other aspect that was brought up, and oddly enough, it was brought up by Mike McIntyre when we were talking about his decision to stay. He said, in the last 6 or 7 years, there is a culture, a mentality, an attitude, whatever way you want to term it, where, and this is true even in the press box, where 7-8 years ago you go, okay, how will Memphis lose this game? What are they going to do? Mm-hmm. And now it's, how's Memphis going to win this game? We did that even in the loss at SMU. Memphis was on the way, as Russell Copeland just has spoken. They were on the way to win the game until Brady had the unfortunate fumble. But you have a whole different mindset, and that's what this team has. And it's going up against the number 7 team in the country. And one of the things that Ryan Silverfield is preaching is opportunity. I mean, how often do you get to play a number 7 team in the country? So I think embracing it as an opportunity and knowing that your culture has changed, that you really believe you can win these things, I mean, that's such a difference than it was 7 or 8 years ago.
And so much more fun than we've all seen.
Yeah, there's a lot of proof in the pudding. I mean, they've won games that you would go into thinking that there's no way they're going to beat this team, and there's no way they're going to beat that team. And even though Mike McIntyre is only in his first year, he understands what they have built here in Memphis. So last week against Temple, I never thought for a second they were losing that game. I'll be honest with you. I never thought for a second. The first half they struggled a bit, but in the second half they dominated. And even though the defensive numbers are still very bad, let's be honest, if you look at numbers, they don't always tell the story. A lot of times they do, but they don't always tell the story. So what happens last Saturday, as everyone knows, 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, and a fumble recovery, which was critical. So even though you have been struggling, you've given up a lot of yards and a lot of points, and I would imagine that there's no quick fix to that. If you get T.J. Carter back, that's certainly going to help. But if you can continue to force turnovers and make key plays and get key stops in situations when it's either third down or fourth down, and we know Cincinnati does a great job in being able to get first downs when it's third and long, third and short. They're one of the best in the country. But if the Tigers can keep getting opportune turnovers and forcing some miscues by the other team, the defense can make up for just the overall lack of ability to not allow a lot of yards. They're going to allow a lot of yards. That's just part of what the DNA is of that team right now.
Well, it's the sport. I mean, there aren't a lot of great lockdown secondaries anywhere across the sport, including at the head of the sport, Alabama. I think their secondary was still a mess against Tennessee. Yep. Greg and Dave as well. And Drew, if you have any insight, dive in. I'm not trying to crush anyone in this. I'm complimenting the start and the bar that got set. You brought up T.J. Carter. As a freshman, I really believed, no doubt, first-round draft pick, might leave Memphis as the D'Angelo Williams on the defensive side. Since then, it's been good play, but it was such a a shooting star as a freshman. I don't want to ask what happened, but what happened?
I'll be happy to tell you. I'll pitch in first, and Greg and Drew, if you want to chime in, you're more than welcome. Injury happened, and that is the one thing that NFL teams might truly question. But since T.J. Carter has been here, he was healthy only 1 year, the 1 year we're raving about, his freshman year. He had 2 or 3 different injuries last year, and this year he was never healthy. He's had a bad hamstring. That's what I'm told that he has suffered through, and I know personally how long it takes for hamstrings to really get healthy. The guy's never been 100% this year. He certainly wasn't 100% at the end of last year. I think the problems, and the NFL may question this too, because if you can't stay healthy in college when the weight and speed comes up, and age, by the way, and muscle comes up at the NFL level, how are you going to stay healthy there? That's a fair question to ask.
I think you're right on. He's a young man who wants to win as much as anybody. He puts a lot of pressure on himself. He has been able to, especially that first year, make up for some other mistakes in the secondary with his excellent play. But, yes, he has been just clobbered with these injuries. And sure, it's going to, no question, affect the way they're looking at him for the NFL. Now, once he gets his opportunity, and if he can stay healthy, he can change a lot of people's minds. But for the actual draft itself, it's hard to look at somebody who has had injury problems. I don't want to sit here and say he's injury prone, but when you look at injured players, then a lot of times your draft status will drop. But he has that opportunity, if he can get that handy right, if he can stay healthy, to show everybody at the next level how good a player he is.
I agree with both of y'all that it has been injury problems, that he hasn't been fully healthy. But when you go back to his freshman year and you just look at the statistics and you go, wow, I mean, he just has all these pass deflections, interceptions, tackles. Well, ultimately, I think teams in the last couple of years have picked up on that. They've been avoiding him. They've been trying to move him to different sides of the ball and going the opposite way. So I think a lot of it, while the productivity in the stat line has been down, it's not necessarily his fault. It's just teams trying to stay away.
I'd like to agree with that, but SMU sure didn't. The guy that they were picking on was T.J. Carter with Roberson. And
that's this year, but I mean, this sophomore and junior year, it was pretty evident that was what's going on.
I'll just go back and I say the poor guy was totally injured. The good news in this game, guys, is Memphis' secondary as a whole, including T.J. Carter, because of the injury, has been, well, it's been bad. I don't know how else you can put it. Jacoby Francis has been okay. They really picked on John Broussard last week, and that was rather evident that was part of the game plan, and they're giving up more pass yardage than anybody in the country. But they've been decent against the run, and that's what Cincinnati likes to do. They run for more yards than they do passing the ball. And that plays, frankly, into Memphis's hands. Now, I'm not saying, Greg, they won't try a few shots deep, because they did that last year. And Ritter missed a couple of wide open guys, thank goodness. But if you had to face a team that was stronger running than throwing, if you're Mike McIntyre, you prefer that.
Well, look, two things. Number one, you're right about that. But remember, last week, Temple came in liking to run the ball. And as I thought he would do, and as I said last Thursday on this show, when you look at Memphis' numbers and their struggles in the secondary, even if you like to run more than you like to pass, you're going to throw it around a little bit more. And Anthony Russo threw it 63 freaking times. Now, remember, they were trailing a lot in the second half, so they were forced to go to the air a little bit more. But you certainly want to adjust your game plan according to the defense you're going up against. With that said, Cincinnati, Luke Fickell, tough guy, he is going to try to establish that run right away. The problem is with Desmond Ritter, who doesn't have a great arm, and he's pretty accurate, but we're not talking about Shane Buechele here or some of these other quarterbacks in the league. When he gets free, when he breaks containment, he can go a long way. He doesn't run the ball a lot, but in his 23 rushes, the guy's averaging nearly 11 yards a rush. And we've seen Memphis lose containment a lot. You want to try to get pressure, but then who's going to step up at that next level if he gets around the front line, are those linebackers going to be able to chase down a guy like Ritter who's really athletic?
Don't forget he had a 92-yarder in there. That'll make those yards per carry go up quite a bit.
That's true.
Yeah,
but I don't
know if he rips off many more 90-yarders.
Right. But guys, I hope, and this goes back to what Wolo brought up a few questions ago about and what Mike McIntyre said. The mentality now is we're going to find a way to win. Okay, we're going to win this game. Whatever it takes, we're going to win this game. And for years and years and years, it wasn't that case, because we can go back to that game against Cincinnati a number of years ago, the old Gino Guidugli, the 4th and 27, the 4th and 27. Those were the days when you thought, oh, my gosh, they're going to pull it off, 4th and 27. Now you think, they're not going to pull it off. We're going to come back and win. That's how much confidence everybody has in the Tigers program now, the way it's evolved over the last 6-7 years.
Yeah, I give the credit to Drew. In his life as a Tigers football fan, he has had some moments that have been painful, but it's mostly been pretty good.
How old are you, Drew?
26.
No, his 20s have been good. He had to suffer as a teenager.
but in the 20s been really good. And all of us saw for years, and we put on the brave face, and we tried to pump up the league that we're in. Just the idea of having really 3 weeks in a row for the Tigers, or 3 games in a row for the Tigers, high-quality games you look forward to seeing, and not just one here and one there.
Right.
It's pretty often, Greg, that it's a big-time matchup in this league.
That's true. It's a fun conference. There's a lot of really good football programs. They're starting to get, I think, their just rewards. For a long time, they did not. Of course, the league hasn't been around forever, but I think people realize now how tough most of these teams are and will be a tough opponent for whoever they play. So I think they're starting to get that, like I said, that pub that they deserve, but it's not easy. And that's why somebody like Boise, and no disrespect to Boise, they are a great program. But you look around the Mountain West, and there's just not enough teams that you think can knock them from their throne, whereas in the American, it's a lot of cannibalism because they're so good. I mean, Tulsa certainly is capable of beating anybody in this league this year. Tulane, even though they got some losses, certainly on any given Saturday, they can do it with their offense. Boise doesn't have those obstacles.
I'll repeat what I said earlier with Bill Bender. I mean, all you have to do is go back to the final poll of last college football season. 6 from the Big Ten in the top 25, 5 from the SEC in the top 25, 4 from the American, the third
and that's at the
best
end. That's
conference.
when it matters the most.
Exactly. That was when it was at the very end. Greg, last question for you. Dan Wetzel just wrote an interesting article about how Nebraska's not a good fit for the Big Ten. They need to get the heck out of the Big Ten. You think we're about to see maybe dominoes fall, and you couldn't ask for Memphis to be in a better position at any time in history than the way the program is right now, if indeed there are openings?
I don't think it's going to fall anytime soon because of everything that's going on, obviously, with COVID. I'm talking about maybe 5-6 years from now, in my opinion. I think they definitely can fall again. I think there definitely be some reshuffling. I don't know. Nebraska is interesting because they seem to be they seem like a great fit at first, and now that they're the rebels. They're like everything that happens, they seem to be against it, or they vote against it, or they want to do their own thing. I don't know if that is souring a lot of people in the conference that they want them out, but I can't imagine that there's going to be much change or movement in the next few years. But I think 4, 5, 6 years down the road, we could be looking at that maybe by the time that the contract ends for the 14 playoff, which is what, Brett, 25, 24?
Yeah.
I think it's 2024.
I think we realign.
Yeah, I think there could be some, but I'm not talking about all of a sudden next year they're going to announce that there's going to be realignment. But I think we're going to have another change, and I would say probably about 4 or 5 years from now. But Memphis is you're right, Wolo, they're in a great position now. When it first came down about all those teams that were possibly going to go to the Big 12, and they were considering all these teams, and obviously they didn't add anybody, and Memphis didn't make that first cut that we heard, we couldn't believe it. We were dumbfounded. And now you look at Memphis, what they're doing academically, how they're moving up the ladder on that, and what they're doing with this football program to go with a great basketball program. They are in a good position.
Greg Gaston, you listen to him every midday with Eli Savoy. And we appreciate you talking Tigers with us this afternoon. We'll miss you on the sidelines in Cincy, but we'll see you a week from Saturday against South Florida.
Yeah, have a great call. Safe travels. See you guys. We'll talk to you next week.
You got it.
Thank you, Greg. Greg Gaston with us every Thursday, and it is so much fun. And thank you to everyone who helps bring him to you in at Southland Casino, Bartlett Small Engines, Presto Shutters, the law offices of Stephen Leffler, Stonebridge Golf, Westie's downtown in the historic Pinch District, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, and Christ Community Church.
I'm reminded that it's Halloween, so the Tigers already had a trick played on them without being able to do the walkthrough when they get to Cincinnati. Now we're going to make a treat out of Cincinnati, right? I mean,
the treat would be the W.
Now the treat really is going to be going either downtown because it's back open, or my neighborhood in Laurelwood or Pleasant View where they make all the great candies, Collierville, Germantown, all these places where you can really celebrate Halloween with caramel apples. And after this weekend, no more caramel apples. Oh, my goodness, you got to get there. You can get the apple with just caramel. You can get the apple with caramel and pecan. You can go crazy, folks, go crazy, and do the chocolate with the pecans and the caramel. That's what they call the turtle apple. It is fantastic. Now they still have caramel corn and cashew crunch and heavenly hash and all these other great things that we have come to love. But if you want caramel apples and you haven't had them yet, and this is the perfect time because it's Halloween, really enjoy yourselves. Do it this weekend. Make it sweeter. Really enjoy Halloween by going to Dinstall's.
And you know, on the T.J. Carter explanation on injury,
yeah,
the celebrated that almost it became the infamous Ole Miss recruiting class of 2013. You know, Tunsil and Treadwell, Evan Ingram was in there, and many others. Robert Kimdiche, Tony Connor from Batesville, from South Panola in Batesville. There was a time while he was there, I would have said, let me bet. And if I win, I get an equal portion of his NFL salary. I think I would have bet on him. But then at the end of it, he had no cartilage left on either knee. And, you know, he never played a down of pro football, which was such a shame. At least with hams, you can get those well unless you just shred them.
Right.
But you know, there was just no tread left on the tire for Tony Connor's knees. His freshman and sophomore year, I mean, it was something to watch.
Well, you know what? One of the other things I learned today, I found interesting, and they got to make a decision on TJ, and usually, so I said to Ryan Silverfield, so you make that decision game time, right? And he said, well, normally we would, but now because of COVID, the American Athletic Conference, as part of their protocol, you only travel 82 players maximum for road games. So it used to be you could take as many as you wanted to. So now, if there's
I thought used to on the road you could only take 70. At home you could dress out as many as you want.
Well, that was way back when. That was the rule. In the American this year, or the last few years, it has been you could take as many as you want to, as many as your charter airplane will fill. So some of that in the old days was budgetary when they first did that. I remember that when I first started doing the announcing. Yeah, it was like 60 or 65 that you could have for road games. You could bring your whole scout team and everybody else for a home game. But the American in the last few years, the limit was 82. I don't know what the SEC is, but I would have to assume with all of those guys using charters that they weren't limited to 65 guys anymore. But this year, and I don't know about the SEC this year, you're limited to 82. So if that's the case, you might want to bring an extra defensive player that would fill the role for depth or whatever it might be. If TJ Carter, you don't think he could go. So you really got to make your decision tomorrow morning. That's crazy. Getting word, by the way, from Brett McMurphy, and this guy is all over this stuff. Wisconsin had 2 more staffers, 1 more player test positive. They now currently have 16 active COVID cases. So, but not all 16 have the clock running for 21 days because some of these are back from a couple of weeks ago, I think. That's the most confusing thing, Brett. I don't know if we had daily testing with the rapid testing now and you got a positive, then you would do the more deep nasal swab thing or the longer one that is a little bit more reliable. But would you then still have to wait 21 days or contact trace as much if you're testing every day?
Nothing's going to be foolproof.
Yeah, I don't know the answer, but 21 days seems like a
little much.
Yeah. This portion of the show brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch, where every new car gets a limited lifetime powertrain warranty up to 100,000 miles, and every new Hyundai and Genesis on top of that gets a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package. They have the product, they have the warranties, and they have the service. They've got a team that's been together for 13 years. Ray Melton's been around there for about 40 years. The cool thing about Ray Melton is he's over the certified pre-owns. And by the way, the certified pre-owned vehicles get 100,000 miles. Hyundai was named the best non-luxury certified pre-owned program. And in this town, we know that as a fact because for 13 straight years now, or it's about to be 13, Ray Melton and his crew have sold more pre-owned cars than any dealer in Memphis. Please go see for yourself by getting on Lamar. It's Highway 78 at State Line Road. The very first exit is Craft Road. Turn left. Go see Chris True and that gang that's been together, and they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We take the break, and when we come back, we'll visit with our friend who knows baseball backwards and forwards. Tim Doolin is next.
Get happy with Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, excludes ACQ fee, $10,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $6.50 acquisition fee, Forte ME 275,992, MSRP 20,510, Soul L706 3372, MSRP 21,885, K5 MG 003,199, MSRP 25,725, K900 MSRP 65,610, L60 26,907, L60 21,220, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/1/2020, dealer stock only. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Where can you find best mass market branded initial quality 5 years running for Kia with J.D. Powers? We Gossett and Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah. Take your pick, 2021 Kia Forte or 2020 Kia Soul. $149 a month lease, 36 months. 2021 Kia K5 beats Toyota Camry with more passenger cargo headroom and legroom volume, plus a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. $189 a month lease for 36 months, all just $31.49 due at signing. Plus 2020 K900, $10,000 off MSRP. So come get happy at Gossett Kia, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
If you want it, we Gossett and Gossett Motor Cars.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. When we put them in nice packaging, we don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Family Leisure's done it again. We're talking about the world's biggest spa sale. Up to 30% off on spas and swim spas. Choose from hundreds of different spas from multiple manufacturers. There is special financing available, and if you are in the market, special pricing now as summer starts to dwindle on chemicals and accessories. Always professional delivery available. The spas are going crazy at Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road.
It's football time in Memphis, and if you or someone you know is thinking of selling their home, it sure better be home selling time in Memphis. And just like you may have a favorite team, favorite coach, or favorite players, you may not have a favorite real estate agent. If you don't, think about drafting me, Sheldon Rosengarten, with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. I always tell people they need to talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers to find out who will be the best quarterback of their home selling team. Have you heard people say that when you want the job done, call Sheldon? Find out why my award-winning, highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option can mean the difference in whether you sit or sell. Also find out how to take advantage of our worldwide relocation network. Call or email me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Sheldon Rosengarten at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now, and go Tigers.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Brett and I like to debate many, many things, and one of those is food. And we've had some heated debates about the commissary. I'm a firm believer in the banana pudding. He's going to go icebox lemon pie every time. I love the ribs. He's crazy about the shoulder. I'm going to go for tamales in the appetizer department. He's going to go for the sausage and cheese plate. One thing we'd agree upon, I think, it is that we both love the nachos. And, by the way, the nachos were invented at the Germantown Commissary. No question about that. We love the new place a lot. You can drive around. You can still do curbside at the one in Germantown. And the other thing we both agree on, the best Thanksgiving turkey bird you can get is the 36-hour bird. All you got to do is get a hold of the good folks at either the Germantown or the Collierville Commissary. Order your bird now because we're almost in November. So many reasons why. Debatable. You're going to love the Commissary. Time to talk some baseball. Tim Doolin joins us now. Okay, apparently, Justin Turner is getting vilified. I think he deserves a lot of the criticism he's getting. I don't think he should be banned from baseball or anything of that nature. But that is an offshoot of this World Series. It was a terrific series. We got to get into the Kevin Cash decision, but give me your take, Timmy, on what you think about what Justin Turner did. And did it put a pall sort of on the way this thing came to an end?
Well, I don't know that. I mean, we're talking about it, so it's obviously a little bit of a distraction. I can see his emotions getting the best of him. To me, if they are doing an investigation, right? So to me, I think the onus becomes Major League Baseball because they've got security people everywhere. They should not have allowed him to go out. Now, did they tell him don't go out and he went out anyway? I don't know.
That seems to be the story. If it isn't, then the onus is on baseball. But the fact that he was out there, somebody's to blame.
No, there's no question. I mean, he should not have been out there as bad as he wanted to be. And, and look, you could say, and he should have thought about the well-being of everybody out there,
right,
including family members, etc. But when you're I've won a couple of championships that were like ridiculously big, but nothing like the World Series. So you're in a different world once you know you've won the World Series. I promise you, the emotions just consume you from everything from Little League and all the people that helped you all the way up to where you are now and how you got there. So
I bet, but mistakes made by a lot of people. But Rob Manfred, just every shortcoming, every stopgap, just slapdash criticism of baseball was kind of on display the other night. All that said, Tim, I'm no Dodger fan. I'm no Dodger hater at all. Never have been. Dodger respecter through the years. It's the Dodgers, whether it's in Brooklyn or it's in Southern California. And I will be the biggest defender of them. I will not let them be ripped on the short season, on 3/8 of a season, because I really believe with that roster, if it had been a longer season, it would maybe even have been a bigger pounding for everybody else. I know the Braves almost had them, but at the playoff, that didn't matter what kind of season we had because that was still going to be best of 7, and they were able to come back.
Well, there's no question. I think you're spot on. They were clearly the best team in baseball, and they proved it. And I think other teams and other players would agree. Now, if somebody else would have won it, you could argue it. But at the end of the day, I think I told Wolo I thought the Dodgers in 6. I was at Game 4, and God, was it ugly. It was a great game back and forth, and then, the ninth inning looked like the Bad News Bears where everybody wanted to touch the ball at least once. So,
yeah.
But, Wolo, you talk about Kevin Cash and really Dave Roberts, because you could have argued that, that with all of our, intelligent resources upstairs in the GM's office telling you what to do, I think my gut tells me that in the game 4, when Kenley came in and he just crapped all over himself, basically.
Right. Yep.
And Urias had just mowed through on 7 pitches. That your gut would tell you to stay with Urias. But I'm assuring you, they have meetings before these games to say, okay, if we get to this situation, here's who gets the ball. And it doesn't matter, momentum, gut feel, it doesn't matter. And so I think that it's easy for us to blame the manager, but unless we know the manager has the authority to make that decision, we can't blame the manager. And I talked to Mookie, and I've been in games like this. Snell was owning them. I don't care if Snell is getting tired and still owning them, you leave him in. He's your best pitcher. Mookie said when they saw that he was coming out of the game, it didn't matter who they were going to face. They're going to hit this guy. And so
I believe,
at some point in time, you got to allow the manager to go with his gut without worrying about getting
throw
fired.
the book out.
I'm with you 100% there. You've been saying this for years. Analytics to a certain extent, and then after that, the guys who know the game have to take over.
Merger.
And look, I know very well that either Kevin Cash or his group, his analytics, and they're the most analytical group in baseball. And look, they got with the lowest payroll all the way to the World Series Game 6. But it just seems to me that they wrote in stone, we don't want Blake Snell to ever face a lineup the third time through. Even though Mookie Betts had already been struck out and looked bad in striking out to Snell.
He said his slider was devastating.
And here's the deal. The guy still looked strong. He gives up a bloop single. He still had pop on his pitch. You've got to go, okay, this is the analytics we've had all year, but this is an elimination game. If we don't win this game, we're done. We got to stay with this guy.
It's an exception. Whatever your rules are,
exactly.
It's an exception to the rules.
Absolutely.
I promise you this, Dave Roberts and Kevin Cash, even though it's like this, guys, is you're pitching and I'm catching, and the manager says, I'm going to call the pitches, but you have the ability to shake if you want to. Right. You know what that means? That's like, Wolo, don't hit that golf ball in the water. You're going to hit it in the water. You didn't even know there was water on the hole. So the bottom line is that even though they say, oh, well, you can go with your – no, he's not going to, because he don't want to go against the analytics that ultimately hold the purse strings to his job.
And Tim, the Red Sox have done it. The devaluation of the skipper, of the dugout field manager, I don't like. The Red Sox just stated it. They don't think it matters who the manager should be. And for Cora, I'm thinking, gosh, what would I win 119 for? I'm getting tired on cheating, and now they said that just about anybody could have done this. I think that is short-sighted.
Well, I think it is too, and I tell you, whether it works out or not, the White Sox just hired a guy that I can assure you he's making the calls. He's going to listen because he's a lawyer, he's smart, but we will see how this works. But I can promise you this, he's going to go with his gut, because he was doing analytics before they ever did analytics.
Exactly. I made that point. I made that point earlier in the day. Let me clarify this, because I really want you have inside information. You can deflect this if you want to. But you are alluding to, in your statements, that you think both Dave Roberts and Kevin Cash, with bringing in Jansen and taking out Snell, that those really were not the decisions the manager would have made, that was this group of analytics that are the bosses? Is that fair?
That's very close to being fair. What I do believe is the last scenario I gave you, they might have said, okay, here's what we'd like to see happen. Here's what we do in these situations under these circumstances. We go with XYZ reliever. But if you, it's your call. I truly believe that. And I think when they say it's your call,
so some
the
options.
manager shuts down and says, it ain't going to be my call. I'm going to go with what the analytics say and hope it works out.
All of us know that the first, I don't care, Harvard, Yale, Cal Berkeley, Northwestern, the first MBA that calls down to Tony La Russa's dugout and says, hey, Skip, we've got some suggestions for you. The phone's going to get broken in a million pieces in the dugout.
Yeah, I don't think they'll even make the call, but you're right if that did happen.
I just hope I just hope he relates to these young guys. There's no better manager. It's terrific. It's a great team. If he and those two and those young guys, especially the center fielder and the shortstop, if they are all on the same page and relate to one another, it's going to be a great run in Chicago. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Well, no, this is the last thing, and it's your call. But it's been such a crazy year, and we just can't do without you. We'd like to keep you through the winter meetings if that's good.
That's good with me. I enjoy doing it with you guys. It's a lot of fun.
Right. Fantastic.
I'd love to do it.
Thank you, man.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Stay healthy. That is our man on baseball. That is Tim Doolin. I'm going to step out a little early, and then I won't be here tomorrow. You'll get my Friday football forecast picks. No question about that, especially after last week. But I'm going to be traveling tomorrow. Can't wait to talk to everybody on Monday. Please stay healthy. And Brett and Drew will close things out in just a little bit. This is our final timeout on Sports Time on Sports 56.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
You get to choose that Gossett Kia on the Pike. Right now, take your pick from 2021 Kia Forte or 2020 Kia Soul. $149 a month lease, 36 months. Plus the all-new 2021 Kia K5 with more passenger cargo headroom and legroom volume than Toyota Camry. Plus a warranty that blows Toyota away with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Now $189 a month lease, 36 months. And get 2020 K900, $10,000 off MSRP. So get your Kia on at Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike or shop 24/7 KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J and he'll put you in a new Kia today. Leases $31.49 due at signing. Zero security deposit excludes ACQ fee $10,000 per year. 20 cents excess mileage. $650 acquisition fee. Forte ME $275,992 MSRP $20,510. Sold L706 $3372 MSRP $21,885. K5 MG 003199 MSRP $25,725. K900 MSRP $65,610. L60 $26,907. L60 $21,220. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF $695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/1/2020. Dealer stock only. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, sports fans, this is Ultimate Vegas Insider John Anthony, and I'm on fire. To prove it, I'm releasing the entire week absolutely free unrecorded message line. Call 1-800-814-9317. I love tonight's matchup. Side and total, your winning week starts tonight. Plus Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all free. 7 big plays. I cover the entire week. Looking to go 7-0, and it's absolutely free. Call 1-800-814-9317. That's 1-800-814-9317. Information wins. John Anthony Sports, #1 against the spread. Your winning week starts tonight. Side and total, plus Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all free. 7 big plays. John Anthony has you covered this week. I love to go 8-0, and it's free on me. Call the recorded message line, 1-800-814-9317. That's 1-800-814-9317. Or go to VegasScoresandOdds.com.
Sponsored by JFSR Group.
You don't think about a lawyer until something goes wrong. When that happens, let attorney Stephen Leffler fight for you and your family. You don't leave the house in the morning expecting an accident, but it happens every day. A car wreck, you slip and fall, or you get accused of a crime and find yourself fighting for your reputation. Stephen Leffler has been fighting for you for over 35 years. Don't do it alone. Let Stephen Leffler fight your battles for you. Call Stephen Leffler, 901-527-8830, or go to LefflerLaw.com. Here to fight for you and your loved ones.
All 75 Mazda 2.99, Mirage, LHO 10129, G4 LHF 07863, Eclipse, LZO 15893, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/1/2020 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
How about a brand new ride that gets 43 MPG highway, seats 5, plus costs less than $4 a day? We Gossett at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage, buy for $11,100 or $99 a month. 2020 G4, 41 MPG highway, $139 a month, or buy for $12,435. And 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $19,107 or $229 a month. Plus confidence today, tomorrow, and long into the future with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage, $99 a month. Mirage G4, $139 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $229 a month. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, we hit fame. It's easy with the deal, we get insane.
Rev Talk with David Kellum at Boo Ray on the historic square in Oxford. Coach Lane Kiffin will join him coming up at 6 o'clock. Then we'll have the Thursday night football game between Atlanta and the Panthers. You heard Russell Copeland say he really liked Atlanta in the game. We're not picking it because they're just better games to pick this weekend than that one. Good place to go this weekend would be All-Star Chevrolet down in Olive Branch. That's where all the new Silverados are. It's Trucktober. Nobody has more new Silverado trucks than at All-Star Chevrolet. You get the Trucktober thousands in cash off the price, and I mean thousands, like $4,500 cash back. Holidays are coming. All-Star Chevy, they have all the new 2020 Chevy SUVs and trucks with cash back deals in the thousands. New 3-row Traverse, new Equinox, Impala, or Malibu, all come with thousands in cash back for you. Remember, it's not Collierville, it's not South Haven, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not Covington Pike. It's got to be Olive Branch. The certified pre-owned lot is full. Impalas, Malibus, Tahoes, and Suburban. Everyone at All-Star, they got one job. Make sure you have more fun, get the best deal, and do it in record time. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy on Kraft Goodman Road or online at allstarautogroup.com. Beat any dealer's ad price any day at All-Star Chevrolet. Best financing for everyone down in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. It's time for us to wrap up the day with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye. Hello,
Choo-choo.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time. Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
On one, on two, on three. Hey.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
We talked earlier about this Sunday, the 25th meeting between John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin in regular season as head coaches. Harbaugh leads 13-11. You know they're going to meet 2 times every year in that division, but that is something for these 2 stalwarts. Are you with me, Drew, that both of those guys, never mind if either get to their second Super Bowl, they both have one, but just right now, if they never got to another one, if they never won another one, they both walk into Canton. Do you agree or disagree?
100% agree. I mean, both Super Bowl championship head coaches. Both Harbaugh has won 4 division titles. Tomlin has won 6. I just don't see a resume out there that's better. I mean, unless, you create a dynasty like a Bill Belichick, but as far as
that's another world.
Yeah, exactly. As far as current coaches of goals that you can actually accomplish, that there isn't any higher than Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh.
And they've both done it relatively pretty tidy. It hadn't been a whole lot of stuff that goes along with them. Yeah, that everybody has some issues, but they both appear to have the real trust of their ownership. Drew, what'd you learn today?
I learned today that the LSU athletic department has decided they have to lay off employees and announced that salaries and bonus cuts for the football coaches, Coach O and AD Scott Woodward, have agreed to a 5% pay cut in 2021, and all athletic department staffs earning more than $80,000 a year will be subject to a 5% decrease in salary next year, and all bonus money in the contracts of coaches in all sports will not be rewarded in 2021.
Yeah, I think the looming iceberg on more budget stuff is really going to come next year after everybody clearly totes up this year's epic losses, and it's going to be for everyone. And you just almost nowhere is going unscathed.
And you got to know those people at LSU right now have got to be looking down from their towers at the lazy river that they just had to build in the middle of campus going, did we really need to waste millions of dollars on a lazy river that spells out LSU in the middle of campus for no reason?
Unfortunately, for too many people, it happens after the disaster. What did I spend on that for? When you should be thinking about it years in advance, do I really need to spend on that? One other thing I learned today, Tony La Russa will be back next year. I think he'll get to 35 wins next year. If he does, that ties John McGraw for second. 36 puts him alone at second. He's not catching Connie Mack. He's over 1,000 behind him, and even with another good run, Tony La Russa is not going to catch Connie Mack. Could have done without the heavy criticism that's coming Jack Nicklaus's way by some in the sports media and others for him endorsing someone president. We know that someone else. He has every right to endorse who he wants to for president. What are they going to do? Cancel Jack Nicklaus? He's 80 years old, and he's probably out of you-know-whats to really care about. And what are they going to heckle and boo him next week when he's ceremonial starter at Augusta National? The cancel culture, you can't go after Jack Nicklaus. He's untouchable.
He really is untouchable, and I don't think it's that shocking. I mean, who saw what he said and been like, oh my, Jack Nicklaus, an 80-year-old golfer? That's
changing my vote.
That's the way he's leaning? Yeah, it's not that shocking. I mean, why are we up in arms about it? But what I could have done without was the news out of Wisconsin, and more frankly, what I could have done without this whole last 3 months is the Big Ten. I mean, the Big Ten, I truly think they never really wanted to play. I think that they set up these obstacles, the 21-day quarantines. If you test positive, the no buys, we have no wiggle room to move. I think they'd set that up on purpose, almost as they wanted to see it fail, because they wanted to try to save face from their initial decision that basically said that it's not safe to play. So now when they can't finish, they can say, well, look, we gave you what you wanted. We folded to your pressure of the fans and the universities themselves, but we were smarter. I think they really are rooting for themselves to fail, because when you put these type of measures in, there's no way to succeed. Wisconsin's done for the year. With the new cases and the 21-day layoff, it is over. Wisconsin may play another 2 games.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Wisconsin's going to play a lot. And as I said, the first time Justin Fields fails the test and he's out for 21 days, he's packing his bags and he's headed to a workout place to get ready for the draft. Keeping a close eye on a lot tonight. 2 college football games, one at 6:30 on ESPN, South Alabama at Georgia Southern in the Sun Belt. It's dominated right now by a really good Coastal Carolina team. Late tonight, I don't know how much I'll see of this one, but I'm going to try on CBS Sports Net. The opening game for Colorado State against 0-1 Fresno State in the Mountain West. And also I'll be keeping an eye on, and you can be keeping an ear on right here on these stations, Atlanta and the Panthers. What grabs you tonight? You watching any or all of that?
I'm going to definitely watch most of Thursday Night Football because that's just what I do. And I'll keep a close eye on South Alabama. They've been an improved team this year. Definitely not the team I saw down in Mobile last year.
No, not at all. And a good league. I like the Sun Belt. We're going to have a big Friday tomorrow. Of course, we'll have our Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust. Tomorrow, Bruce Marshall will be with us. We also have Glenn Rogers Jr. with us tomorrow. Trey Schapp will talk Razorbacks with us. Nick Carparelli from the Football Bowl Association, he's executive director. He'll be with us tomorrow. But want to thank today from the Sporting News, their number one college football guy and their number one college basketball guy, Bill Bender, with us from football, and the Hall of Famer, the great Mike DeCourcy, talking basketball with us. Thank you to Russell Copeland, to Greg Gaston, and to Tim Doolin. For Dave, I'm Brett, and for Drew, thank you. Have a great Thursday night.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One with a